footballer.
Oh, look at us. I think we might be something.
Are we live?
I think
We're not waiting?
Are we live?
Do we want to? We can wait if we want.
No.
But we are.
No, we're live. Are we live?
Are we buffering?
Are we buffering?
Oh, no.
We can't
Buffering
see
is
it.
over.
Carmen,
that's right. I
we
forgot.
can't see it,
I forgot y'all can't see. Yeah, we're live, people.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of ATL On Fire, the podcast where we talk all things Atlanta United football and all things soccer. Dave, Carmen, how are y'all doing this evening?
Great.
Doing really well. Really
Yeah.
good. What happened? What did I do? What's pointing? What are you pointing at?
What happened?
Oh, it's the. I thought if you hit
no.
the button, it's
No,
the TV.
it's the TV. Yeah, so we're
doing a new thing here, people. In case you can't tell, go ahead.
They
Sorry.
can't tell because we're staring at the TV.
Yeah.
If you're joining us live, we're pre-kickoff Atlanta United versus New England Revolution. So we've got a little bit of live commentary we're going to do to mix things up tonight here on the podcast.
During the game, people.
During the game.
So this is inspired by Carmen. So
What?
Carmen is always text. She's like, I love listening to you guys via text commentate on the game. And we
That's
thought,
true.
let's
That's
let
true.
the rest of the world listen to us commentate on the game.
This could
man.
get
Live.
This could be fun.
Could be good.
Yeah.
Could get bad.
Oh,
Could go
I
off
know.
the rails.
This
But-
is fantastic.
Yeah, Carmen, you missed it before you came in. I was telling Dave I'm kind of all-time low with soccer right now after the U.S. men's
Oh.
national team.
Did he read your text?
Going. No, you're gonna read my text.
Keep talking.
Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah.
honestly thought
Don't
we were
do
done.
it, Carmen.
I think
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I don't know what I said.
Oh.
But keep it PG. Keep it PG. But I think it probably does demonstrate like where my head is with a lot of soccer fans right now
Yeah.
that are Atlanta United or U.S. men's national team fans or women's national team fans.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's still, there's still the women's team later this summer in the Olympics, so it could still get good,
we
people.
we
We have lots of backup plans.
Yes.
There's Atlanta United, there's U.S. national team, there's always the Euros, Copa America, Olympics. I mean, somebody's going to win something.
There's a lot going on, but so I didn't even know if we were having a podcast. I was telling somebody, it's like, I don't know if we're doing anything on Wednesday because the text from Mikey Dobbs was, soccer is officially broken and we are stopping our podcast. I can't handle this anymore. I thought we were done.
Oh,
Yeah.
just kidding, people.
Yeah.
Nothing can stop the podcast.
Yeah, nothing can stop the podcast.
It's an immovable
I needed
object.
to get it
pizza.
off my chest.
What is it?
But yeah, went to the soccer, the Mercedes-Benz to see the U.S. men's national team on
Yeah.
Thursday against Panama.
Oh,
That was one of the
so glad I did not go. I was just back in town, and I was like, I'm not going to go. The prices are too much. And so glad because it was a VAR fiasco.
Oh,
And that's all it was. Did you
No.
even watch any soccer, or
No.
did you just watch a ref
the whole-
march around the field and point at
the
stuff?
whole first half. I've never seen like such a disjointed disaster of a soccer game.
Oh.
What a terrible fan experience.
Yes.
Was it? It was that bad?
It was
Or
all-
not
like,
just- okay.
It was like I cannot believe I just paid money to be tortured.
Oh,
Honestly,
That's
like my
cra-
good
I-
hard earned money. Like I was like I
I can see it.
just got punched in the gut over and over again. It was
Makes sense.
horrible.
Speaking of torture,
Uh-oh.
this New England custom, we're watching the pregame here.
Yeah.
They throw tea onto the field, like as if it's the Boston Tea Party.
Mm.
What?
It's pretty bad.
Like tea bags or throwing
no,
tea
they're these
bags?
giant things that are like stuffed big, stuffed tea.
Ah.
Like
Cups.
I don't even know what you call it. It's like a proxy for
Yeah.
real tea. Like it's supposed to be like, oh, we're doing this. So.
It's almost as bad as like what's Nashville's song? I forget. No, it's really cheesy.
I thought the only thing about Nashville is they have the national anthem played by a guitarist all the time,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool
Yeah, that's cool for sure.
because
know
it's
the Nashville
Nashville.
song.
So we have a few other games to talk about in the mix too, since we played 3 games since our last podcast. Last podcast we talked about Dynamo, which was a
Correct.
2-2 tie, first Valentino game, correct?
Correct.
And he's still undefeated, right? Because then
Still undefeated.
we
2
go-
wins, 2 ties.
and then it goes to DC. We win that one.
We
Correct?
win an away game.
Win in DC.
Woo!
What?
Come back home, and that was a Saturday game, I believe. I didn't make it.
I
You
was
did.
at the game. Toronto.
Ended up tying that.
No,
No,
we
it's
won.
Saint-
The Dark Arts TRA.
Oh no, not but the one in between is what I'm talking
Oh,
Oh
about.
yeah, we
between-
tied St. Louis.
So tied St. Louis, and then, And
that was a miracle.
that was a miracle.
We didn't really probably deserve to tie that game. They had, though I love the ref taunting the people. He's like, not offsides. But,
That was
however,
fantastic.
everybody starts cheering, and then he goes, however, and people are like,
However.
oh.
That was awesome. I love that. That was so cool.
Yeah, and he's like, however, there was a foul in the build-up, free kick.
It was like
Yeah.
dramatic pause.
Yeah.
And then-
Yeah. So,
However,
you never want the ref to say, however. It's funny because they mic'd up the refs for the VIR thing, right? And like in the NFL, like they're very strict about, okay, they just say the things or whatever. But they haven't, because it's so new, I guess, they haven't really gotten to the referees to be like, here's this, simple language that you should use. So they're pretty much free to say whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Right.
Although I should also note, and this is the first time I've ever criticized Mercedes-Benz,
Okay.
they cannot get the microphone to work on the referee. U.S. national team didn't work. The Atlanta United game, it didn't work. I'm like, come on.
I think it might be by design. Those people don't deserve to be heard. Do you really want to hear what that guy's got
It
going
could
through
be,
his
and
head in
that's
the U.S.
true.
men's national team game? I'm not
Touche.
sure we want to hear what was
All right.
going through his head.
All right,
Make good
touche.
points.
Touche.
Make good
Fair.
points. Make good points.
They're like, shut it down.
Cut the mic.
But before we get into all those recaps, Dave, thank you
Oh,
for
yeah.
bringing an old favorite here in Alexander Valley Vineyard.
Yes.
Um,
Classic California Cabernet in honor of our great country, America, on the eve of 4th of July.
Yeah, Merca.
Go USA, America, hell yeah.
Now, Dave, I noticed you're wearing the logo that's
Yes.
upside down, but I mean, undefeated under Rob
Well, I
Valentino.
wore it because I originally started upside down because I was like, can't get any more upside down than Pineda getting fired and interim coach. And now they're winning, so now I can't take it off. So
Oh, okay.
that's what's going on.
Gotcha.
This is now superstition.
Okay.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, keep the undefeated.
So I
streak going
started
under
wearing it
Valentino.
again because of the upside downness of firing the coach. And now I can't take it off.
And of course, as always, we want to quickly thank our sponsors.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We got Wolf Mountain Vineyard. Since we're going to be taking another sip. of this
Carmen, are we
lovely
going
wine.
there this weekend?
We should.
Yeah.
We should absolutely. Why not?
Why not?
Count
What else
me
we got
in.
going?
I mean, wine, good weather.
Heck yeah!
Count me in.
And then want to thank Wild Heaven Brewery.
Yeah, if we don't go to the winery, we're definitely going to the brewery.
Yeah.
There's no rules
Yes.
of not doing both, even in the same day. you
Oh,
know? I mean, I don't
same
know.
day.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. You might need an Uber. You might need an Uber. That might get
You might
costly.
need a new Dave.
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. Okay. Bad advice. Bad advice. But okay. So under Rob, Dave, what have you noticed has changed immediately going on the road out of the gates right to DC?
Yeah.
We get the win. Sorry, in that game.
Yeah.
What do you recall from the lineup? From
Well, there's a couple things overall, and we could go into details, but overall, so I thought initially, and to be fair, you're not going to see it in one game to change. He said, oh, they're going to be much more free. And they sort of were more free, right? Like in that first game we talked about, we scored a goal off of Guzan punting the ball,
Mhm.
right? And in the Houston game. And we hadn't really seen him punting the ball. We were insistent on building out of the back under Pineda. I didn't really see that much more. I felt like, we were still pinching in. There was all this stuff. As the 3 games have gone on, I don't know whether he's changed it tactically or whether it's just the players are more free, but there's a lot less pinching in. The players are more matching up. I've even seen Wiley go up the field and try to mark somebody.
okay, so that's
Oh.
my biggest observation is Wiley is up further the field. He's being more offensive. Okay. I don't know which game it was. I was texting.
But he's not just up the field offensively. Sometimes defensively, he's going to find someone. Like, when's the last time we saw that?
I'm not seeing that at all.
I saw that.
Still, no.
I am
Okay.
still seeing him back up,
Well, yeah, he still
back
does
up,
that too.
back up,
Mm.
because it's just like rooted in him now,
Yeah.
and it's not defending at all.
Yeah.
So even if he is out there early, all I'm seeing him do is back up.
The other thing that's clear is that lineups wise, so he went the first game, there was not 5 in the back, but then Valentino quickly went to 5 in the back. He's played 5 in the back ever since. And to be fair, particularly, so we lost Gigi, gone, of course, to Cruz Azul. And St. Louis, we didn't have Almada because he had yellow card jeopardy. I mean, we can talk about how horrible it is that he got his last or second to last yellow for taking off his shirt.
Yeah.
maybe I just want to briefly mention that while we're talking about it. Because so I was in a Twitter conversation with some of the guys from some of the other podcasts about it, and they were saying, how can you blame the coach for that? And the reason why I was blaming the coach is because in the playoffs last year, you remember the Spider-Man? Was it Silva?
Yeah, Silva.
Who had the Spider-Man?
I mentioned that. I jumped on my Mike Dobbs account. I commented. It's
so that's, so they had that, and that was a moment where under Pineda it happened. And so if I'm the coach, I would say, but no, because we can't afford to do that. You can't just be getting a yellow card. Like in that game, he could have gotten a second yellow card for nothing, right? You just can't do that. It's just stupid, right?
And we all know coaches that you have a little bit of fear of, and you don't go against that.
No, because I would have said, look, that is never, funny how it's Superman, but that is never happening under my watch ever, right? It's just never going to happen, right? And we just had a decent shot in the first chance.
So in
the first minute.
New England, what just happened? We kicked off about a minute ago.
Yeah.
And it looks like on the right side is that Lennon bombing
down. He crosses it. Does this hit the post?
Oh, look at us.
Oh, no. Never mind.
Oh. That's a decent chance.
It's the defender. It's a decent chance. Anyway, you would have said never, ever, ever again. And never means that people are like, what do you want him to suspend him? And I was like, yeah, like if you had said that after the first one, you wouldn't suspend the guy the first time. Maybe you hadn't said it before. But if you say that during the playoffs, this has got us. We can't do this. It's just stupid. I love, funny. I love you guys. I'd love to celebrate, but those are the rules, and it's stupid to get the yellow card, and it will never happen under my watch. If somebody then does it, then absolutely they should be on the bench the next game. There is no doubt about it. Coach's authority. Yeah. I mean, I'm not even that tough of a coach, and I would know that you can't. You have to do that.
Right. I hate it when my kids ruin my day, right? If I'm like, hey, don't do that. This is the last time I'm telling. And then they do it, and you don't follow up with like especially when it reaches that when it's something that's going to impact everyone else in the surroundings. Yeah. And then you don't follow through with what you said, then you're not a good parent.
In any case, circling it back, so we didn't have Almada in that game, and so what are you going to do? So he played 5 in the back, and I think that's smart because you're not in that case. We've been talking all along like you got to play through the middle. Why didn't we ever play through Almada? But when you don't have Almada and you don't have Gigi, then you don't play through the middle anymore. Then you say, okay, what is our second best attacking option? Wiley and Lennon down the flanks. And then you want to cross in. He played with 2 strikers. So he had Rios, he had Tiare. There was Silva and Rios. But I think that's a good lineup.
Okay.
So
that was smart.
Remind me of the goal we got up in DC.
The goal that we got in DC.
I don't even remember.
Let me check my notes. That was Almada. He beat 3 guys and he curled it in the far post.
Oh, that's right.
It was unbelievable.
That's
a solo goal.
Oh, that's right. That was a beautiful put it on his shoulders play where
it was
took it basically from midfield, kind of took it and then just cut straight down the center.
It was
and
Almada.
By the time the back line was stepping up, he was already eyeing up the side netting. It was beautiful.
Yeah. And it was the game we were wondering is something happened to give him more space or is he taking more space? Like
it looked like he was on the ball a ton. Yeah. And part of it was because we were playing with less players in the middle. Now, one thing I would say is, when Pineda went to his 5 in the back, right? I don't know if you recall this, but when he went to the 5 in the back and we talked about it on the recap, he always had more success when he went to 5 in the back because it would help partially solve his stupid pinching in problem. But the thing that killed us under Pineda is when he would do that, he would still insist on playing the 3 strikers. So if you're playing 5 in the back and you're playing 3 strikers, that's 8, right? That only leaves nothing in the midfield, right? So you only have 2 other players. And so that was a problem. And he didn't do that, right?
Do you want to briefly talk
He only played 2 up top, which still left 3 in the middle. Sorry.
Since we're watching the game right now, sorry to deviate, but what was the starting lineup tonight here in this New England game?
I really like the starting lineup in this game. Because here's the other thing that, how many times, if you're for regular podcast listeners, you will know that I kept saying, particularly on the road, there is nothing illegal, Pineda. about playing with all 3 defensive midfielders. So in this game, he's playing 5 in the back. So it's a true 5 in the back, meaning that those guys are wingers bombing down the side. And he's playing with 3 defensive midfielders. He's playing with Fortune, he's playing with Muyumba, and he's playing with Sleaze.
Oh, Sleaze is back.
Sleaze is back and starting in this match. And keep in mind that you have all of that, and you have Dax McCarty coming off the bench. So instead of forcing another striker, Pineda, right, and you're on the road, why not play with 3 defensive midfielders, right? Really try to control the game. Now we'll see if it works. But I like the lineup. Yeah. So he's playing with 5 in the back. He's got Gregerson and Williams and Cobb.
On a breakaway now.
Here we go. Sleaze taking the ball. It's Silva. Pretty good counter, though.
Yeah, terrible end cross there on that.
So that lineup. Now, the one thing I don't understand, and I do understand in this game, because Tiare apparently got hurt. Even though he scored using the dark arts, he got hurt before that. Do you know that?
No.
He hurt his shoulder. He's out 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was on that play. You saw he got.
Yeah, he got absolutely clobbered.
Got clobbered earlier.
Yeah. Right.
But one of the best Mount Rushmore goals Atlanta United will have, right? Just because of the pure assassin thought process on that was so awesome, and the fact that, you know, none of the other teammates warned him, and because there's also part of the fault of the back line, right? Like, they weren't paying attention.
Right.
They should be like, hey, where's the striker? So it wasn't all on the goalkeeper, but mainly on the goalkeeper. Unbelievable. And the way that it came in real time, you just saw the flash of him like take the ball, and you didn't really know what happened. So it wasn't until the replay, and you got to love the fact that he's back behind the goal, sipping on the goalkeeper's water bottle.
Drinks the goalkeeper water bottle. That takes the time. And then he gets behind him.
Literally behind.
And when he's moving over, he moves over so he can't see him.
Nothing in peripheral vision. He's literally.
Yeah.
It was.
Now, here's where you guys could call me for going too far.
Okay.
Right?
Here we go.
I'm going to contend that I don't think he ever scores that goal with Pineda as a coach, because that kind of goal takes a certain amount of enthusiasm for the game, excitement, freedom, or whatever. Not to say that Pineda would have stopped him from doing that or anything, but just the excitement to be like, I'm going to try something really cheeky. What do you think?
I think you probably have gone a little too far.
Yeah, it could be.
I think you've gone too
be.
far.
Just a little.
Coincidence worth mentioning, just to get another dig at Pineda. I'm okay with it. that
might be too far.
That he micromanaged every player into taking the fun out of the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
the
think
players weren't having fun anymore, and you're not having fun, you don't try that.
Yeah. Well,
that's my point.
I'll take it.
I'm not saying that anything about tactically or whatever, like you wouldn't let him do that. But I'm just saying, if you're not having fun, you don't try something cheeky like that.
It had been since like April since the team was having fun. So
yeah.
It's a long time.
That was fun. That was fun. And the celebration afterwards and the style.
Stadium was so loud.
Was it?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was just going like raised the roof kind of loud.
That's it. I mean, that's the way you want to leave Atlanta United's Mercedes-Benz Stadium, with that kind of buzz.
And everybody was buzzing, and everybody was happy, and it was glory.
Yeah, I was watching the game by myself, and I was just like, did that really happen? Like, I just sat there and watched the replay like 10 times over and over again. I was like,
had y'all ever seen anything like that before? In all of your soccer watching, had you ever seen any? I had never seen anything like that.
I think I maybe in youth soccer have seen that happen before.
Okay.
Because, I mean, young goalkeepers,
right?
They're not really paying attention. I've seen them get snaked before.
I feel like there might have been one in history, but I can't bring it up in my head, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just
not at a high level. No, I've never seen it.
Never seen anything like that.
For those who are under a rock, I mean, the goalkeeper. The game was over. It was 95th minute.
It was going to be called.
The referee had the whistle in his mouth. It's about to blow it. All he had to do was punt it, and then the goalkeeper got cheeky. And to be fair to Atlanta United or whatever, so the goalkeeper just before that, he had made one of those saves, and then he rolled around on the ground for to waste a bunch of time. Right. And you're like, stop wasting that time. Like, it was just stupid. And every goalkeeper does that.
Yeah.
But I just think it drives me nuts.
Right.
Like, how does a referee allow you to do that? You catch the ball with nobody around you, and then you fall to the ground. You're like,
frustrates me so.
that is clearly nothing made you fall, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so he was wasting time on that, and then even when the punt, he couldn't bring himself to just punt it. He wanted to put it on the ground to waste some more time, and that's what cost him.
Oh, breaks
So
my heart.
karma.
A couple of
Karma, people.
They should start calling that for keepers time wasting and give a yellow card
Yeah.
when it's clearly obvious that
Yeah.
they did the momentum didn't bring them down to the field.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But also during just watching a bunch of the Euros, by the way, which are playing if you're under a rock.
Euros? What's that?
And in the Copa America,
Oh.
obviously is going on.
So much.
The stutter step that now has turned into it's okay to stop.
The PK?
Okay, can somebody tell me the rule in this?
That's
You
not
cannot
legal.
stop.
Oh, we just
it is
gave up a
it is
goal.
We
illegal.
gave up a goal? Crud.
We just gave up a goal.
Oh,
Dang it. What had happened, Cats?
Just walked right in past Lennon.
Oh, Abram is in for Cubs. I mean, Cubs, I don't think is
Oh,
playing.
yeah, it's not Cobb. It's
Yeah, I think it's
Abram.
Abram.
Why? Why Abram?
Oh,
Because he's suddenly back. You're like, dude. There's
Oh, they're shooting guns.
I
up
think
in
those are
New England.
muskets. I think those are muskets.
Muskets.
Musket is a type of gun.
Yeah, it's-
I'm just trying to be specific.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, yeah, not to alarm anybody watching. They are shooting muskets. Right, I get your point now. I get your point. But that's a pretty cool celebration. That's better than
Better than the T.
the T. They're shooting
That's
muskets.
Okay,
true.
so they
All
play
right,
on the
that's
left
fine.
side, split the two backs. Hint maybe
Yeah.
could have been offside. He
Oh,
splits the
come
two
on.
defenders, goes right by Gregerson and Abram. Who
How-
was at fault there?
How
I
did
don't
you-
think it's even
terrible def-
Abram.
Oh,
I
it's
think Abram.
Williams.
Yeah, I think
It's
Abram.
Williams. It went right through Williams' legs. It wasn't Abram's fault at all.
Not at all. He's coming.
It
from
was
the
Williams who
side.
just got beat. He got megged.
Oh,
through the legs.
That is terrible.
Yikes.
It was 2v1 defending.
Yeah, 2v1.
Honestly, and this is you're like, okay, if you get beat by that, how do you let him just run by you? That's where
That's-
you got to take the
Yeah, I was
yellow.
gonna say that was first thought in my head. Like, how do you not just trip him immediately?
Was he in the box already?
I
Was
mean,
that the problem?
I
No.
guess the question is, would he have gotten a red card because he?
Uh,
because
Abram was
Abram
back
was coming
there.
back.
No,
And-
Abram was not probably.
but he could have fouled him. He was still in front of him. Like when the
it's
ball.
an MLS referee that's
no.
in charge here.
No. But after he megged him, the guy actually was still in front of him. So that's not last man back ever, right? So the ball was in back of him, right? But it was not a 1-on-1 last minute winner and a 1v1. He can obstruct him, and that's still not last man back.
Okay.
Okay.
I
All right.
I trust you on those nuances, but
He could have just
And-
stood him up.
and-
There's nothing that the referee would have done on that. No way.
That's a good point. Okay. I see
he
what
could
you're
have.
saying.
Oh, he could have stood him up. What I'm
Yeah.
saying, once he got megged, and
Yeah.
then he had to turn around. If
No,
he had
after he gets megged, he just stands in
Got
the
it,
way.
got
and
it.
obstructs
Got
him.
it.
obstruction, fine, right? But if he gets behind him, then
Then you
trips
let
him.
him go.
But he has to be behind him. You have to pull him down, you know.
I
I'm with you there. Yeah,
I
Like
see
it
what you're
has to
saying.
be a clear path to goal, and the guy's in front of him. You can't
Let's
call
see.
that.
yeah, you got to body him up.
Oh
there.
yeah, because he couldn't even. Yeah.
Yeah, don't let him go around you so
That's-
easily.
That's not good. That's not good.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right.
Uh,
A lot of time.
Says-
A lot of time left.
but back to my point about PKs, and I know this has hit a nerve for you, Carmen.
Oh,
with,
yes.
with goalkeeper
Yes.
as
Oh.
your son being a goalkeeper.
Criminy.
They will call a goalkeeper for moving in a
know.
millimeter off the line, and yet, yes, they are breaking the rule. You cannot stop your momentum completely
Uh huh.
and then go again.
I think
There's
even the
been-
stutter breaks the rule.
There's right. The stutter breaks the rule, but obviously the stop
Mhm.
absolutely breaks the rule.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it quite like
Yeah.
I've seen 2 or 3 in the Copa America
Mhm.
that absolutely are full stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're-
Yeah, the only way that I was like, maybe they're like just tiptoeing, like just in the
'Cause if
same
you
place.
go
but
up to
that's
the
still
ball
not legal.
and you fake it and like step over it, like you fake a shot and like the goalkeeper goes and then you stand back and pass it, that is not legal.
That can't be.
You
legal.
can't do that.
Absolutely.
That's
cannot
what it's
be
designed
legal.
to stop.
You're right.
Right. So you can't, because if you did that and then he never moved, right, then you back up and you would have another chance, but you would have a chance to sell him
Yeah.
and see if he goes.
Right.
You can't do that.
Do
I
you
don't know.
think if a keeper, so if you did the stutter stuff and the keeper just like ended up guessing, then they would pull it back because they're like, the keeper hasn't really
Yeah,
moved.
I don't think the stutter thing's ever
Uh-huh.
going to go away.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
that is because
If I were the goalkeeper and the guy did that during, not during,
who's
maybe
to say
during-
you can't go up to kick the ball with whatever style you want?
Yeah.
So if stuttering is what you're going to do, then fine. But keep me correct on the comments or whatever out there, people. I am pretty sure you are not allowed to full stop your momentum on a goal.
No,
That's
there's
what I
a
thought.
rule
On a
that says
PK.
you have to maintain moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, it's up to objective. But if I were the goalkeeper, I'd be so pissed about it. If some guy just came to a stop, I would just run out and just try to block it from 2 feet and be like,
Mhm.
if you wanna allow him to do that, then I get to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna get a yellow card for sure. But I'd be like,
Right.
come
But
on.
it's so hard for a goalkeeper to even react and do that.
Like,
in that-
stop letting him
like,
do that.
what is a second and what's a millisecond?
And you would bring attention to it from the field.
Let's see. Okay, so Hayden Marquette.
Yeah, Hayden
So-
at Wild Heaven Brewery.
Okay, hey Hayden. He said there was one full stop in the France v Poland match.
Yeah.
Lewandowski did a full stop. Keeper came off the line and they allowed a redo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper messes up. They got to force a redo,
Right.
and then Lewandowski scores again to his point.
Okay.
And yet
That's crap.
it's total crap. And yet the penalty kicker can break the rules, and they just don't care
Right.
about it.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a great
Can't
point.
give advantage.
All right.
Already the penalty kicker has the advantage
Yeah, thanks.
because they score, 9 out of 10?
We almost let in another goal there.
Goose.
So okay, then we tied St. Louis. That was a road game.
Miracle.
Miracle.
I mean, in that game,
It was a bad game.
they had a goal called back, right? So that's the one where he said, however. The ref said, however. He got a call back for a foul in the build-up, which I think was actually a foul. They took the ball from Miyamba, I think is what they called. And I think that was the right call. But you're like, ooh, that's pretty lucky. Then they hit the crossbar. Now, to be fair to us, Berkey, or whatever their goalkeeper name is, he made a couple of spectacular saves. One off of Rios and one off of Fortune, where he tipped it in the crossbar. So we could have scored or whatever. But the PK that we got was a shot from close range. They called handball.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, really?
Ah.
Is that a handball for us?
Yeah.
Like, if I was a St. Louis fan, I would feel hard done by. That was because we didn't really have that many great chances. I mean, even the one that Fortune almost scored on, I mean, it was a 30-yarder. He happened to hit a cannon, but it wasn't a great chance. He made it into a great chance, but.
So I don't know if you've been able to pay attention to the game here with 5 in the back. What observations, if any, do you have on how we're pressing or controlling different parts of the game here? So, oh man, this is so different though. This is one thing again when you know you're watching MLS soccer after watching a bunch of Euro and Copa America.
What you see, Micah Dobbs?
Well, first off, like a back line of 5, right? You see them marching in a perfect back line. It's a line.
Yeah.
It is a straight line all the way back, whether it's 4 in the back or 5 in the back when you're watching, some of the best soccer.
Yeah.
And it's like more of a horseshoe that I'm witnessing.
Not as disciplined on the line.
No discipline on our line. And then
Speaking of line, what did you think of the U.S. the non-offside call against Uruguay?
I need someone to explain it to me. Quite frankly,
I am still super confused. So absolutely offside unless, and they didn't do a good job of describing it, if the ball actually came off of Tim Ream's head.
No, that
as
wasn't
the pass.
it. That was not it.
Someone texted that, so I didn't know. But that would be the only explanation.
the only thing that I could halfway remember when y'all discussed it, that was English
No.
Premier League when you said if the lines, or if it's so close that the lines will overlap and like be what I don't even know what that.
So sorry, I did watch later on because they finally did show some lines on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was coming off the Paraguayan's player's head. There was 2 guys in the back post that looked to be clearly offside, but I don't know if it was Ream or whoever. Somebody's toe.
It was Richards.
Was relatively even with whatever offensive guy ended up heading it in.
Yep.
And again, you're talking about, like, in that case, it was absolutely a millimeter. And you know my stance on offside, right? Like, a millimeter is all it takes. If we know how it is defined on, it is a scoring part of a body of the defender and a scoring part of the body of the guy on offense, right? That are the line, right? So his foot shoulder or head, right, are the typical things. Like you cut your arm off, right, and basically that's where the line, from the shoulder becomes the line, right? And so if you have technology that gives confidence to the fans that millimeter is true,
which we do,
right? Which like at least like in England with the double line thing, they try to get to the millimeter. Then let's move on.
Well, here's the thing though. What's interesting is so they're doing this off the cameras that they have. And so the computer is actually calculating it. So technically the only way you can truly know exactly if it's offsides is if the camera is literally in line. Right. That's why the lines are supposed to be literally in line. So what the computer is doing, because the camera is not usually in line, although that wasn't true in the World Cup, they had like a zillion cameras, so it literally was on a line. But here, where the camera is not literally on a line, the computer is calculating. I don't know how it does it, but like an angle of it and adjusting for it.
Okay.
So even though it looks on that camera that it looked like he was so offside, even when they drew the line, the computer actually drew a line and said, no, he wasn't offside by the toe. But the interesting thing is, again, it's all on Twitter and there's a bunch of physicists chiming in, and depending on exactly what algorithm you use for calculating that, he was anywhere from an inch onside to about 6 inches offside.
But again, so I'm okay with that, because I'm not gonna back off of my stance, right? Like you have to define offside as something, and at some point, the relativeness of even is even, right? And so let's call that even, right? The scientists are arguing about it now, right? So that's even, and in the spirit of the law, like even is onside, right? Because we want more goals in soccer,
correct?
So if you're a Paraguayan fan, you're like, I'm cool with that. So I'm actually okay with that. But what is troublesome, again, is the fan experience. And this is also the problem with the Tim Ream offsides at the Panama game.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, oh, yeah, I mean, it was clearly offside. There was no controversy on that one.
Correct.
Why did it take 8 minutes to torture me? I mean, at least the Paraguay one was like, oh, my God, it's a toe. Even is onside, let's move on.
Right.
But the game is broken because of the way that they're implementing this technology, man.
I agree.
I hate to act like the dude, but but I mean, it's just not that complicated.
He's heating up. He's on fire.
Define it.
Yeah.
Implement it.
Right.
Call it fast. Show people afterwards why it was even with the Hawkeye, with the what's the English lines, whatever there's all these different systems.
The
computer. And you know what? At the end of the day, you're gonna
as long as it's the same algorithm for both teams. I agree.
You're gonna wear down the fans and be like, okay, it was relatively even. That's this, and then just tell everyone, like I just did. The spirit of it is, if it was okay, if we're arguing over an inch or a millimeter based on cameras, we're going to give the advantage to the offense, because that's what
they've done in England. Is they've actually made it, they've really defined that, right?
Yeah.
So you actually have to have a separation between the lines.
So
if the lines overlap, which is like an inch, then it's considered a
but still the problem is how long it's taking them to like this is purely a decision that needs to be made upstairs within a matter of seconds.
Right. So why does it take that long?
The reason that it takes that long, I believe, is because they're looking at other things that happened before off the ball.
Yeah, the computer makes the offside call
and are trying
away, and trying to make sure they're adjudicating everything.
So they're trying to re-referee the game, and this is also what they don't tell you.
Okay.
How many seconds back are they going to re-referee the game?
Which is how we got out of the VAR in St. Louis, because they went back to the original tackle. That was the however.
That was the however.
Okay.
So again,
and in that case, you might argue, okay, because in that case it was a tackle at midfield with Muyumba that we had possession. There was a tackle on Muyumba, and the ref said play on, and then they went down and scored. And they went back and reviewed that and was like, no, it was a clear foul. That's how they won the ball to get there. So you're like, But a lot of times they just call something in the build-up. And
okay, but what if? So let's say the Muyumba play happened in them coming out of their own box.
Right.
So it took another 10 seconds to get across midfield.
Right.
Would they have called it? Even though Muyama got fouled and they got the ball illegally.
And in England now they've defined that, and I think the answer would be no. That would be too far away.
Yeah.
Oh, they have
They've stopped going back to that because they're like, nobody likes that, even if it were true.
Again, so I think they need to figure out what the definitions of things are. This is offside, and then if our cameras are within any sort of millimeter inch distance, we're just going to say it's onside.
Yep.
And then we're going to say we're not going back any further than 15 seconds.
Okay.
To re-referee the game.
Okay.
And we're going to let how the referee on the field adjudicated things stand.
Yeah. So do we have any idea currently how far back they can go? Like in Copa?
No, I don't think
supposedly the rule is basically within that play, but it's a very amorphous definition.
What's
so
a
you
play?
can't go back to like the previous exchange of possession, right?
Okay.
So from the time that team won possession till the time they scored it. But how long that was and where it started, and what, for example, if it were in the front box corner, it went all the way down the field, and then it went back and all around the field, but they never lost possession.
Right. Okay.
So let's say there was a foul. Let's say you had the ball. There was a foul. They didn't call it. Classic. Let's go with Barcelona or Spain because they're possessing for whatever. They go up the field. They possess the ball all the way into the 18. They decide not to shoot. They bring it back to midfield. They possess it again. They go around or whatever, and then they cross it in and score. Right? They never lost possession, so technically that's one play. But you would say, look, they stopped the attack. They got the whole defense back. That play should never have defined it.
Or you could say it was the last critical interaction, as in was there any bumping of players that happened within the cycle that needs to be reviewed? That way, even if it was a minute earlier,
right,
you go back. So I think about the game. Was it the Uruguay game where Gio Reyna
showing your age, Mike.
I know.
Gio Reyna gets, in my opinion, fouled, and then they break away and score on us to go up 1-0.
Yeah,
I don't know. They never went back to show it, but in
Uruguay was a freak kick.
But in real time, no, was it?
Yeah,
I think you're talking about
the offside free
I know
kick.
which one you're talking about.
Which one am I talking about? Is it the Panama?
I think it's the Panama.
It was Panama.
It's Panama. Then.
Yeah.
So the Panama goal.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in the stands, so I didn't have any replay. But I was like, man, I'm pretty sure that Reyna got knocked over from.
And they didn't go back and look that far in that case.
They just slammed into it, and it would have been the same thing as the Muyama thing. I'm like, he definitely.
Yeah, that's how they gained possession. The difference between those two plays is Muyamba was coming out of her own 18, so it was really directly to the thing, whereas Gio Reyna was in an attacking sense, lost the ball, and then
the guy
all
came
the way down the field.
Came right, just ran him in the back, and then won the ball. And I was like, that's classic bad CONCACAF referee.
But when there's no definition of it, then it's really subjective. Is where do you draw the line?
Okay.
Now I'm going to say, you said the dude. So while we were about to concede the offside free kick for the U.S., right? You have. That was a turf monster that got Wiley, not the foul. You had.
Did he just get injured?
I think he's going to be okay.
The New England guy's going after him, but he's like, dude.
Caleb's a bit of a hothead. I'm not going to lie.
He thinks he was faking it, but he was.
By the way, what game was it that? How did Wiley not get a red card?
That was Toronto. The 1 week, because it was right before that. I'm sorry.
That was.
I'm screaming.
No. I meant don't tell the referee.
I was like, I forgot kids are sleeping.
No. I was talking about the referee.
And any day of the week, MLS is calling that a red card.
I mean, he put hands to throat.
Yeah.
Is that a difference between throat and head?
He didn't get suspended.
Not
he got a fine. No, he did get fined.
He did get fined a little bit. Okay.
Not only did he shove him 6 times. And then I think the 5th and 6th one got him in the throat. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, he must have said something about his mom.
The league thinks that he deserved it. Yeah. So that's probably.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I don't know that. But anyway, I want to say the dude that is Berhalter, right? He's holding up the score, right, of the other game being 1-1, the Bolivia game.
Not worried about yelling at people to focus on the actual game at hand and get back and focus.
Yeah, how do we feel about that?
He's a Chester. He's a Chester.
Yeah. That was awful. Like when I saw
Okay,
that,
now I
was
want to
like,
say,
what
I
are
want to
you
step
doing?
one more step back. We'll start with you, Carmen.
Okay.
So, do you feel that you should never tell them what the score is and just let them play, never communicate?
I
Or
don't
do you
thi-
just feel it's bad that he was communicating right then when they were about to defend a free kick?
I think it was, well, timing definitely. But also, I think you can say you're changing your tactics, but to be like it's 1-1 in the other game, I think that's I
No,
don't know.
I
That's
think
a whole different scenario
He
for me.
does not need to tell the players a damn thing. He needs to tell the players what to do.
What to do? If we're changing tactics,
Him-
we're changing tactics.
Him having that
Mm.
information, of course,
Mm.
but he needs a coach based upon that information.
Okay.
And in that case, all they have to do is beat Paraguay. That neither game is over. There was a ton of time left. You
Yeah.
gotta
I
play
still
for the
feel
win.
like at that point you got to go win. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
right.
I
Of course
probably
you do.
would have said nothing to the team at that point. Just
Of
Because you're not
course you
changing
win.
tactics. If you're
Yeah.
changing tactics, change the tactics. But
yeah.
I don't.
It's one
yeah.
thing if it's like quite late in the game and you're like the
Mm.
dangers, you're going to give something up stupid. You know that it's
Yeah.
1-1 and you kind of feel like we would go through it. We don't want to be stupid. Let's not throw it away.
Right.
But that wasn't that situation.
There was like 30 minutes left,
Yeah,
right?
it was a long way to go.
Yeah, long way to go. And you need to beat Paraguay. That was the whole entire point of the
Uruguay.
game. So, Uruguay.
Yeah.
Thank
no,
you.
No offense.
Yeah. Paraguay lost to who
Yeah.
was it the other day? Is
They're
it Brazil?
terrible.
Yeah.
El Miron
Almiron. Somebody had a really good game or goal for Paraguay in that game,
Oh,
though.
I missed
was
that.
not El Miron.
So, what are we talking about now? Any recap? We've jumped around from the.
What do you see in this game?
No, haven't really looked too much.
Oh.
Been talking.
I know.
Must be watching the game.
Yeah,
and he has
watching the
been in their end a lot.
Yeah.
And again, this is what you would say. Now the glass half empty person would say you can't play three defensive midfielders because then it doesn't matter how much you get in their box, you'll never score. The glass half full will say, look, if you can dominate possession, eventually something will break and you'll score. I'm a glass half full in this case. I'm like three defensive midfielder on the road. If you can dominate and keep them in their end, A, you don't give up goals, and B, eventually going to score. Even Rios, who I think is terrible, is going to score.
Even with the defensive posture that we obviously have with the lineup, it seems like we could get one back here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had a lot of possession. We've had a lot of chances, and we're recycling the ball pretty up front.
Yeah.
Now, again.
Now, Rios can't. Goodness, the number of times that he should have scored. I mean, he has had some. People are like, "Oh, the goalkeeper made a great save." Yeah, but he gave him a chance to make a save.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's so not Miguel Berry, though.
Yeah,
That's
well,
all that
Is
matters.
anybody-
that is a really low
Is
bar.
anybody?
I know, but that's the depths that I'm coming from.
I forgot to check.
Hit
Carmen,
it.
Carmen,
Here it
Carmen, you
comes.
said that he scored a goal
He did a while ago, and he made what game
for
was that?
LA.
He had one. He had one goal.
He had
for
a game
LA.
winner, like towards the end of the game. For,
Well, he did
LA.
score one banger for Atlanta.
Yeah.
What,
The clock is right.
Moment.
Yeah, thanks for the
Thanks
moment.
For the moment.
Yeah, people were like, thanks, because that's what that was the Atlanta United Twitter is that thanks for the moment. So people were
Yeah.
like, the moment.
I-
Singular, not plural.
Well, have we mentioned who did not travel with us to this game?
Yeah. Amada is
Almada, gone.
Gonzo.
sold for 21 million to Eagle Group, which has ownership in a Brazilian team where he's going as a little
Correct.
skip. Was it
Junket.
Boda?
Like 6 months for
Yeah.
a little bit.
What's the name of the team?
I can't
Botafogo or something. I don't know.
Botafogo. Yeah.
And then they also have ownership, I believe, in Lyon, which is
Leon. Yep, that's where he's headed.
which eventually he'll end up at. But
Yeah.
am I wrong that they also have some relationship with Chelsea?
No, it's Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
Crystal Palace.
They're in the
Crystal-
Premier League, but they own Crystal Palace too.
Crystal
So they own
Palace.
those three teams.
So,
But here's the thing. People are like, oh, he can go on to Crystal Palace from Lyon. And the answer is no, he cannot.
He can't?
No, he cannot. The European football rules say that if one owner owns two teams, they cannot transfer between those two teams under the same ownership.
okay. He probably isn't a fit for
Because
Crystal
that's
Palace
because
anyway.
people are
Yeah.
like, because then otherwise you could, do shenanigans.
So he can never do it or just in a season? Like, can
Never.
never. So he can never play for.
So I don't. Once he goes to Lyon and plays for Lyon,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he can ever go to Crystal Palace
Huh.
unless they change
I
ownership
know.
or something.
I don't know if I have a different view, but I picture Crystal Palace being like a power forward energy team. Like they're They're not ticky-tacky football, which
well, they're a lower seed Premier League team, which means 2 banks of 4. And remember when Almiron went to Newcastle and they had 2 banks of 4 and he was on his own, and he really was frustrated until they got better players. And he would have been that at Crystal Palace. So at Lyon, it'll be a much more free flowing. They'll have much more possession.
Okay.
It'll be much better situation for him.
Okay. Yeah. Brazilian side, Botafogo.
Botafogo.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
He's gone.
He's
that
gone.
leaves us with how many designated players, Mikey Dobbs?
One player in Stein Gregerson.
Jan Gregerson. One who's on the field.
Yeah.
We're down to 1 designated player. Now, does it bother you?
And who did we just?
And I'll hint, it bothers me. So if Almada is going, so the European season is not started, right?
Correct.
And he's going to Brazil to play for a couple of months before going to Europe.
Okay.
Right? Why in the world could he not stay with us?
Because the people that just spent 21 million plus 9 million want full control.
No, but why not say to them, we have a deal, but we're not going to sign it until then? Obviously, once they sign it, they can't leave him here because he gets hurt, and then they're on it, whatever. But I would say, look, we have a deal in principle. It will be on this date, and then he can move directly. So instead of him going to Brazil, if that's what you want,
right?
Instead of going to Brazil, we're going to want him to stay here and play. He's going to play either way, and it doesn't make sense if you're the Lyon, ownership.
But they're
why
also,
do you want him to play for a brand new team when he can play for a team he's
also the
comfortable
Brazilian
with?
team ownership, and they've got skin in that game of that. I don't know where Botafogo ranks in the Brazilian.
Yeah, but is he going to
division.
change everything by going there for 2 months?
It sounds like it. There was some comments on Twitter of the fans there that were pretty excited about him.
I know they're excited because he's a talent, but
yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter what they think. If you're Atlanta United, couldn't you have played that hand? Like if you had gone to their ownership group, Eagle, you said it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
And said, look, we'll give you the deal, no problem, but we're not willing to sign it until basically, the week before they want him in Lyon. Give us the date of when they want him in Lyon for preseason, and that's the date we'll do.
They could have done that. And Carmen, sorry, I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
let you
Go
talk,
ahead.
but it's such a bad environment, Atlanta United right now. I think at some point you got to do the player right. Let him move on to a new chapter.
But that's not doing him wrong. You're letting him move on.
It is doing him
You're
wrong.
not even letting him.
He doesn't need to be at Atlanta United anymore. Like,
But what does he care? Do you think
else.
Almada really cares whether he plays in Brazil for 2 months before going to Lyon or whether he stays here for 2 months before he goes to
Yes.
Lyon? No, I disagree.
Yeah.
Come
I don't know.
on.
And I also think there's probably because he's playing in the Olympics, right? So when does he go to the Olympics?
Mhm.
So I think negotiation wise,
Yeah.
I'd be like, look, we're not going to take the risk on the Olympics.
Yeah.
So
he's going to be
Yeah,
that much,
or even we sell him so that he goes to the Olympics. We'll sign him on the day.
he'll be
he
that
goes to
much
Olympics.
closer to family in Argentina.
Yeah.
Now, in reality, as you
Mm.
pointed out with the Olympics, he's probably not going to go much to Brazil either because he's going to play in the
he's
Olympics.
going to play in the
and then-
Olympics. So I can see as they're negotiating, be like, who's going to take the Olympics?
He may
risk?
never. That may be a total falsehood either. He may never play in Brazil. He may just go straight to the Olympics and then
It's
go
possible.
to Lyon.
Yeah.
So maybe we're wrong. And so maybe if that's the case, then Atlanta United has no recourse.
And give us the money before he goes to the Olympics. If he gets
I mean,
gets
I
hurt
would-
in the Olympics, I don't want no part of that. Give me my 20 mil before
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, there's also some sort of 9 million like add-ons to it. So with that, I think would be the highest ever MLS transfer. But just on the base, it's the third biggest transfer ever behind Almada.
Almiron.
Almiron and why am I blanking? Alfonso Davies.
Alfonso.
Oh, okay.
Davies.
All right.
It's
There's-
real good, and he's going to Madrid.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you just take the 20 million because if he gets hurt in the couple of games, he stays
Yeah.
with us, and
Oh,
then we don't get 20
Now, I'm an
mil.
MLS
Speaking of getting
purist.
hurt.
I really feel like they should put their foot down, these clubs, MLS clubs,
Mhm.
and say, look, when we're selling players onto Europe, we're going to sell them, but only if you'll give us a loan back through the end of the MLS playoffs.
Interesting.
Because I'm like, I am not sacrificing my best player in the middle of the season, right? When we're trying to contend for a title, it's a disservice to the fans. So you'd say, all right, MLS playoffs end, basically November, right? So that means the European season is going to be, September, November. They're going to miss the first 2 months, but I'll be like, that's what we're holding to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Speaking of MLS, oh my gosh, just shake my head at the MLS. I mean, how is this league ever going to be taken seriously when we pack in more MLS games than we've ever seen during the international break that's most significant?
So true.
So why in the world is it like, especially for an Atlanta United formula, right, where you're bringing in some of the best young players, right, that are all being called up, like Saba, Bartos Sleece,
Yep.
et cetera, et cetera, all the 3 U.S. players basically getting punished big time during a critical part of the season where
Saba
there's
right there.
Yeah,
He's
they're
back. That's
from-
pretty
from
amazing.
Georgia's run.
Yeah, Georgia gone. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, I mean, how is that possible that you can be a legitimate league and try to pull that off? And how does it make sense for you to acquire players that are going to be part of that best of best that then your team gets punished?
I got 2 words for you, Mikey Dobbs.
It's
2 words.
must change.
No, 2 words. Leagues Cup. So the reason why they cannot have anything adjusting for the season is because they got the Leagues Cup. And what I would have said to MLS and to Liga MX is there is no need to play the Leagues Cup every single year, even if they play it every other year, which would be very routine, right? But every other year, and then you could coordinate it where a year that there's a Copa America, or that there's a World Cup, so you would have it so. The World Cup and the South American and European championships alternate, right? So it's World Cups every 4 years, and the interim 2 years is either European and Copa this year, right? So if you play the Leagues Cup in between that, you are never overlapping with that. And then the years that you're not playing Leagues Cup, you are not. That's the years when you have World Cup or European Championships or Copa America, and then you could have a bit more of a mid-season break because you would just replace the Leagues
Love
Cup.
that idea.
Okay.
Way better.
Come on. And that would be better because it would build for the Leagues Cup because it wouldn't be every year. It would be a little more special.
But yeah, you can't.
But the reason why they're doing it every year is because they're kind of thinking we're kind of going to merge the leagues. They're going to try to make it one. And by doing it every year, they get used to that.
So you're saying if they did that, then we'd have gone on pause as soon as the Euro started.
Yes, I think there would have been basically a month break in the middle of the season. You know how Europe has a winter break, right? Not every league, but a bunch of the leagues in Europe have a winter break, and you would have a summer break, middle of the summer, which would be the best time to break anyway because it's the hottest.
Yeah. Couldn't you do the Leagues Cup? I don't know, in winter, like right when MLS just ends.
No, because the Leagues Cup has to be where it is because of the overlap in the Liga MX and MLS seasons because they're not synchronized. So that's really the time it has to be to have all those teams in best, sort of in mid-season form.
Well,
So
that's what I was saying. So like that,
but it doesn't. That Leagues Cup doesn't. I mean, that happens in July, so that's not like it's not a big problem.
Yeah,
it's basically the same time. It'd just be slightly shifted.
Okay.
No big deal.
No. I do like your idea of doing it where it avoids the other Euro and Copa America type of tournaments because that's just plain stupid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because your viewership, right? The people, are you going to be watching Copa America or Euros, or you're watching MLS games without the stars?
Yeah.
And the answer is you're watching Copa America or Euros, right?
Yeah.
So their viewership goes down too, right? So
do you think we have any hope to tie this up still?
Eventually.
It's Pineda. It's Valentino. He has like the most amazing karma. And one of the things I was going to ask you all about. So Valentino seems to have the best luck ever. If you go back to his interim after Heinze, there were a couple of games where he was super lucky and won or tied. And now he's got a couple of games he's super lucky or tied. And he just gave up goal too.
Gummit. Every time I turn my back.
Just jinx this.
But what I was going to say... so for those of you out there listening, there was a cross, a back post. It looked like it was marked up, but then we just got beaten to the ball. And that's where Williams is the flawed defender. You see it, in both, I think, of these goals. I don't know whether it was Abram or Williams, but both of them are flawed defenders. And they were right on him and just got beat.
Yeah.
That's nothing tactical, nothing
Brad
coach.
was going after Abram.
Nothing,
there, so.
whatever. Let's see.
I mean, we got people across the line.
They recycle it.
Recycle it, bring it all the way around to the right side.
We're marked up. I mean, we're really marked up. They did a really good
Yeah.
job, right? None of this packing
Is
in the
Caleb
middle.
Wiley really putting any pressure on him right there? Again, Caleb Wiley, zero pressure.
Oh,
I disagree.
That's
man.
what he's mad about.
Wiley or what
was
did Brown
Wiley.
do?
But Stian Gregerson is the one who gets beat at the
Yeah,
back.
you
Come on, stop it. Look at Wiley.
Yes.
Wiley on this play is dancing 6
Yeah.
feet away from him.
Yeah. And
Zero pressure on the
I
ball.
agree with that.
He doesn't-
Anybody who thinks that Wiley's going to be an amazing left back in Europe is kidding them.
No,
He's not ready defensively. If I was signing him in Europe, which supposedly they are, he's about to go. To me, he's only can be a winger or some kind of attacker.
Yeah.
Right?
I heard rumors that
Can't be a left back.
I don't think he's happy about that rumor being out there.
Oh,
'cause I don't
really?
even know that he is wanting to make a European move.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense. Stay in the
But why did
Canada,
we
man.
just buy a left back? So just get to our. We just bought a left back.
I have that on an
from
inside
Portugal.
source, by the way.
I like it.
literally.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Mikey
Breaking
Dobbs, have you
news.
been hiding in the bushes outside
I have,
of the
yeah.
training center?
I like
I
it.
have.
Yeah, I can see that. How is
So
I
we
like
signed Pedro Amador.
that. Oh, look
Yeah.
at you with
From
the Spanish
Portugal.
with the rolled R's. And
Amador.
Hey, Amador.
You only roll it if there's two. Does he have two R's in his?
No.
Yeah.
no,
Roll
I'm
it
just-
anyway.
You don't
roll
roll-
it
you don't
anyway.
roll it.
I'm just
Roll
making
But it
stuff
does-
up.
Amador.
Could be Amador. Amador. He's an Amador.
But you said you had positive things to say from.
No,
No, you didn't.
I know nothing really about him. I was.
Oh, except his highlight reel shows him
I
scoring
was
a bunch of
laughing
goals.
because Atlanta United put out a highlight reel and he's making a bunch of free kicks.
Ooh,
And he
Oh,
well
crossed
struck.
it. Yeah,
well
that
struck.
was well struck. He has a bunch of free kicks and a bunch of crosses. And I'm like, are we talking about a left back? Are we gonna? They did show 1 point where he makes a tackle. One out of like 7 or 8
But,
clips.
I mean, let's be honest. It's hard to put together a highlight clip that's going to get the fans excited. That's just like playing defense.
if we're signing a defender, I want to see him. For
I
the
know
defense.
you do, but I'm talking about like
Your
I knew
average
it was a good
fan.
left back, man. I don't know. Curious. I love Robinson for the U.S. men's national team. That guy's
Yeah,
a
Anthony Robinson. Jack.
oh,
great left back for the
Yeah.
U.S. men's
Oh, how did he say that?
There's 2 great saves by New England there.
Fortune denied.
what the what?
Who took that other one? Carmen, did you see?
I didn't see who that
Who
was.
hit the long bomb? It was a good one.
It
Couldn't see.
was. Could have been Schlees, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Sleece, but I don't know.
Oh, they cut the clip.
They cut
They're
it.
about to show an amazing save.
It must have been because it looked
Oh.
from the clip where it cut.
Oh,
was
by the
going
way,
corner.
because we're about to go to halftime here in the
Half
game.
There we go.
time.
Speaking
we
of,
might take a pause and then come back.
there was 2 minutes added in there. How about the Uruguay game where they added only 5 minutes? I don't know what.
My
Literally, there was
God.
like 20 minutes that needed to be
oh,
added.
what a save that was!
20 minutes.
And-
I'm like, I'm not good at math, but I think I know the difference between 20 minutes and 5 minutes.
I was about to say it was at least 6 to 7 just for the VAR check on the offside. It
Right.
seemed like.
And there were like multiple ones of those.
Yeah.
It hasn't been good. The CONMEBOL, CONMEBOL,
Yeah,
Uh,
come to bowl.
CONMEBOL. Yeah. Yeah, they have not come off looking good at all. It's been terrible. I want to talk about something else. And I know we don't have highlights available for this clip, but in the Toronto game, I was watching Bernardeschi. I was at the stadium. I was watching Bernardeschi, who's Italian and a terrific player, former Italian and national.
See the one who's got the white braided
Yes.
hair? Yeah,
Yes.
He needs to stop that immediately.
Immediately.
Well, the look's not good, but the player is.
I don't know. He's obviously good, but he'd be a lot better without that hair.
Well, what I was gonna say to you is, so he's older, right? He's like 36 or
Okay.
something at this point, right? So he's not young. And
Then he should definitely know better than to have that hair. Okay, go ahead. Sorry to keep interrupting.
so I was watching him, right? So he doesn't have the pace, he was never the paciest player, but he was strong and physical and had good pace, right? And he's lost a step,
Oops, sorry.
clearly.
Sorry, guys.
Take a trip with
Whoa.
the kids.
I'm just pressing random stuff.
Oh,
See, usually stuff is what do you call it? Muted for me. Where's the volume
muted. I
on
don't know
this?
what's going on.
How do I mute it?
La, la, la. Commercial break.
Commercial
It's our
break,
first ever
commercial break.
ATL
Oh my
on fire
God.
commercial break.
What is happening, guys? Sorry.
Saying, oh no, we
Where's
got
the
highlights are
volume?
gonna get us.
Okay, got it.
Oh,
Done.
woo, woof.
Sorry.
The podcast went
That
off
was
the
awesome.
rails there.
My bad.
I like it though.
So do we have an intermission thing on the banner thing? I don't know if we do or not. I used to.
Oh, let's see.
Anyway, what I wanted to say is Bernadeschi lost a step, right? And one of the things that I was amazed, I was watching him, right? And he actually is sitting in these pockets. He's 20 yards back, he's 20 yards wide, and he is constantly making the defenders make a choice and we were often leaving him alone. And so then he just gets on the ball without ever having to do any fighting for it, right?
Yeah.
And I was watching, Rios. So Bernadeschi was playing the right of their front three. And I was watching Rios and I was watching some of the other players on our team when we play front three. And we insist on going to the front line and standing right next to their defenders. And, this classic, the coach is like, make sure you're all the way forward and keep it, whatever. And I'm like, not Bernadeschi. He's getting on the ball all the time and killing us because he's sitting in that gap 20 yards behind. And what I want to ask you, Mikey Dobbs, because I know you've played some wing too, whatever, right? Why is it not acceptable why do so many coaches say you have to go to the front line as far as the whatever and get on the last defender? That's what people say, rather than getting open in the pocket.
Are you talking about as a forward?
Yeah, as a forward of a front three, a wing, one of the wing forwards, the equivalent of a Saba or Silva.
Yeah, so a forward. I consider that a forward.
Yeah, forward.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely, you should be able to, find whatever space is available and be like Messi, who says, "Hey, you should probably walk more."
Yeah, Messi drops in the hole. When we were playing Colombia the other day, Jaimes was dropping really deep, and the commentators were talking about Americans. Oh, our forwards are dropping too deep or whatever. I'm like, nobody's telling Jaimes he's dropping too deep. That Colombia coach who's not. So the Colombia failed to qualify for the last World Cup. They changed their coach, fired the coach, of course. And their new coach has yet to lose a game. He's 21 games. He has yet to lose a game. And he just tied Brazil last night. Obviously knows what he's doing. But he is giving them the freedom, including Jaimes. He's giving them the freedom to drop in. What's wrong with that?
I mean, as MLS is a league, right? Like, that's one thing that's lacking, right? There's a lot. I think there's a lot of talent. People are skilled. People are physical. I think it's missing, obviously, a huge part of the cerebral part of the game. And I think that's a big part of where this league has to grow, which is, again, just being able to, read the game, whether you're defending or you're in a Saba position, to find, know where the space is going to be 30 seconds before it ever even happens, and finding a way to lurk your way in there without expending a lot of energy. So
I love when I'm coaching, I always tell my forwards, get off of them, get in the gap, make the defender make a choice, right? So the defender either has to let you on there in the gap, in which case we can play to you, you're wide open, and that gives us an outlet. Or the defender, if they're going to stay with you, has to come all the way out, like a center back has to come all the way 20 yards and a little bit wide. And now that opens up space to get in behind them. So it's way better that if you just stand right next to the center backs, which is what the Atlanta United forward, Rios, if you watch Rios, he literally stands next to one of their defenders all the time. And in fact, a lot of times he'll be back defending a little bit. We win the ball, and he runs to stand right next to the guy. I'm like, it's like a magnet. Like, stop.
I can't say my favorite thing to do, especially as I get older and I got to play a little bit of the striker position, is just torture people with random movements that make no sense and force them to make a decision that, again, might allow one of your forwards to then find opportunity in the space that you left.
Right.
And you just don't, like, especially like with the Miguel Berry days, like that's what killed me the most. I have to get back to it. You're like, wow, we are talking about such predictability in the way that he would jog. Like Barry, because he didn't run. He would jog and arc and trot and arc and trot. And it was like, oh my gosh.
I'm just going to interrupt you for one second. The expected goals for Atlanta United were leading, 0.36 to 0.77 were down. Shots 8 to 6 were down. Shots on goal 4 to 3.
Went away.
Screen pretty even. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but I mean, I think that's unbelievable that like Pineda can't during that time couldn't recognize that that's like that's very coachable too. Like I mean, it's not like Barry wouldn't want like that seems like something very correctable in practice. Be like,
let me sit you down, son.
let me sit you down, and because he had
you will never be a professional at what you're doing.
But he was able to score one
except
time,
for in
so.
LA.
But anyway, sorry, I gotta bring. He'll always come back on this podcast. That guy,
Miguel Berry.
I've never seen worse.
The ghost of Miguel Berry.
I mean,
But even Rios is he does find himself in better goals. He at least gets in the box to try to score.
He gets in the box, and he can finish in the box. He's shown that, right at times. I think to me, Rios is the only thing he's good for in this at his age or whatever. I don't. He's not even that old. He's like 29 or 30. But the only thing he's good for is he's a last 10-minute player, right? Yeah. So last 10 minutes when you need it and you're pumping a lot of balls in the box or whatever, you put another guy in. He can clearly stick the ball in the back of the net. He's shown that. And he's
shown that he can not only score, like he can lay it off to somebody or do an intelligent soccer move in a critical moment.
He made a great one too with Almada on his goal. But that being said, he doesn't move. He doesn't open up the game, right? He runs to the next defender. And so as a starter, if I'm a center back, I'm like, I got 70 minutes off.
Yeah. By the way, did you watch the Georgia game with Saba in the Euros where he'd missed the sitter?
I missed it
against
too.
It was like, that's classic Atlanta United right there. Atlanta United sitter.
He missed the sitter from close, just like he's missed from Atlanta.
Yeah, to win the game. It was like a game winner.
To be fair to Saba, he gets in so many good spots that you're kind of like, even though his finishing is not
he
good.
Should have been there no matter what, and he was. That wasn't like a great run, but that was like exactly where he should have been.
But if he can learn how to finish, I mean,
I know in that weird game, he's
clearly not a great finisher, but he's really good at movement and he's really good at getting open. He's got 2 good feet.
Yeah.
But now, who do we have? Who's going to score goals for our team? Tiare, but he's out 2 to 4 weeks. I mean, Tiare has played so much less, and this is to me, it's a nag on Valentino because Rios has played way more minutes. Maybe you can pull up the minutes, Carmen. Rios has played way more minutes, and Tiare has outscored him.
Well, I would say if I'm coaching, I'm thinking about our goal scorers. I would say Tiare, Silva, and Caleb Wiley.
Yeah, Caleb Wiley could score a goal.
If he can,
and that's why
he can remember what to do up that force since Pineda held him back.
I don't know if you remember a number of weeks ago, we were talking about this rumor of a left back coming. And what I said is I thought that was brilliant because the obvious thing to do if you've just lost Gigi, which is what we knew we were happening at that time, right? I said the obvious thing to do is Silva becomes your center forward. Wiley becomes your left of your front 3 and you sign another left back. So that's what I would love to see. If I were Valentino, I would say this Portuguese guy is my new left back, right? Wiley is my left forward, and Silva's playing all the time through the middle. Because Silva can shoot the ball. He can beat a guy one-on-one. He actually, to me, doesn't look as good on the wing. He's got really good moves, but he tends to not run by people. He beats a guy.
Well,
you saw it in this game. He beat a guy at the top of the box and got a shot off.
He can beat people going to the line and across it all day long.
But I'd love for him to beat a guy and score.
Yeah.
Because he can shoot, too.
Well, yeah, he did that in that game where he ripped it to the far post with no angle.
I don't want anybody who's not looking at Silva's qualities and saying that's a center striker. To me, he could be a 20-goal scorer. He could be the next Gigi if you just let him play that.
Yeah.
Why not? He's physical. He's got great moves. He actually has probably better feet than Gigi. Gigi's a little more cheeky and his movement's better. But, you can work on that.
Do you see any future for Wolf in this team?
I mean, right now, absolutely. I mean, if you're Tyler Wolf, this is your chance.
Yeah.
Because for the rest of the season, whether he starts or not, he's got to come off the bench. Who else do we have?
That's why I'm bringing him up.
I mean, in this game,
if you were to do something like that, you would have to very much rely on a Josh Wolf is why I'm bringing that up.
Tyler Wolf.
Tyler.
Showing your age
I
again.
love this.
Claudio and see, I'm
Yeah,
showing my
yeah.
age again. Thank you for
You're
correcting
welcome.
me. Yeah.
You're welcome.
That's
I was
fantastic.
really just ribbing you.
I know.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I would do the same thing.
Is
so.
Josh still coaching?
Yes,
Austin?
hasn't been fired yet.
Okay.
I think
Although,
so.
let's talk about who has been fired.
Ooh, who's been fired?
Right, St. Louis canned their coach.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, one thing that's interesting, the classic knock on MLS, too many teams make the playoffs, and so nobody wants to fire their coach because you're always in playoff hunt, right?
Mhm.
There's always something, right? And so there's a lack of accountability and there's no pressure on these coaches. But that being said, St. Louis, in their first year, they won the West, right?
Yeah.
And they did get knocked off in the first round of playoffs. But in the second year, they've struggled, but they're about right around the playoff line.
Yeah.
And they fired the coach. It's pretty harsh considering his first
I
year
was
was so
about to say,
good.
he did really well.
And Nashville
Oh.
fired their coach.
Yep.
We know.
They
So
hired-
there's a couple examples of people canning their coach early, good or bad.
I mean, as someone who's wanted Pineda fired a year and a half
I was
before he
about
did,
to
I'm going to go with
say.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
Nothing wrong with it.
I
Nothing
agree.
wrong with it.
Yeah, and then speaking of like insaneness with coming off of Copa America with some of the worst stats and performances we've ever seen from a U.S. men's national team. What do you think about the fact that Berhalter still has a job right now?
Awful. And the fact that Berhalter still has a job is awful because I never would have rehired him. Because no coach ever does really well on the second time around in a World Cup cycle. Very, very few coaches have done well. Almost the track record is almost always worse, right? So that's A. So if I were a federation, I would say you got 4 years, a cycle, you got a World Cup, and then you're gone.
Okay.
We're going to go into somebody else,
Yeah.
always by definition. Like
Yeah.
almost even if you win the World Cup, we're probably going to get a new coach and come back 4 years later or something. Anyway, but so that's one problem. Then of course,
Scaloni ain't going nowhere.
then of course there was the whole outing of his incident in college, which was not great. And on top of that, the whole thing, he had a problem with Gio Reyna. There was so much baggage there. Why in the world did anybody bring it back? We had a whole podcast about this.
I mean,
It's because there's incest. Like literally, if you've played for the national team, you're amazing in that group. And if you're not, you can't. I mean, they talked about this. So not only, it turns out, so Ernie Stewart, I think, was doing it. And when they had this first search, when they hired Berhalter, okay, there are 2 coaches now who have said they put their hat in the ring for the job. Tata Martino and Bielsa has now come out and said that he did it, right? And the reason why they turned both of those down is because they wanted a coach. I mean, what they wanted was one of their buddies from the national team. What they said is they have to be able to speak English better.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, and
that is like...
And they have all these like crazy rules. Like they had to live in Chicago
Yeah.
where the headquarters
Right.
which is now going to be in Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
Like, come on. In a remote working world now, let's be realistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the best.
Yeah, especially because the new headquarters are in Atlanta.
Yeah. And
So
Hayden
now
asked,
they're going to have to live in Atlanta.
did they interview Marsh before the Berhalter second hiring, I guess?
They
After he got
did.
They did.
Or
and
at
then
least they talked to him.
they
I'm
talked
not
to
a
him.
big fan of Marsh. What do you feel about Marsh?
I'm not a big fan either. I think he's going to crash.
I think he's going to crash in Canada.
You think
I think
so?
he's going to crash in Canada. I
Okay.
mean, he got a win in their last game. Are they playing tonight? When does Canada play their?
No, I don't think it's tonight, but it's coming up. Yeah.
Coming up.
They're
Is
the
that- is
only
that their
ones to
th-
get through.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right?
so they-
Mexico got out. We're out.
so-
Canada through.
Canada through to the round of 16 now, and that's like one of the.
Yeah, so people would say, awesome. But they were through. They scored 1 goal. It was a little bit lucky.
Yeah, I couldn't believe I
Like,
got
they
through
weren't good.
even.
And they have, the best team they've had in a long time. The thing about Jesse Marsh is that I think he's smart, and people get attracted to the fact that, he goes on the TV and he explains a lot, and he clearly knows a lot.
Yeah.
But his coaching style is predicated upon this sort of pressing kind of all out whatever, and he's a bit of a one-trick pony, and that only works if you have the right team. So, for example,
But Canada is a good fit for him with the style players that Canada
No.
has. I think they are.
I mean,
Those are all high pressing
yes,
workhorse players.
but the reason
dude.
why I would say no is not because of the Canada players. I would say no is because it's not a great system for a national team to work in a high press together. You got to train all the time together. It's a much harder thing to do.
But that's kind of how Canada's always played high energy. Like
yeah.
they're like even before Marsh, that was the style of play. That's why I thought he was a good fit because it also fits Marsh. Regardless, that's how Canada was going to play.
Sure. If you're going to have a coach, he does fit those players. They're very quick players. They got Alphonso Davies. They got Jonathan David. They got a bunch of physical, fast players. They got Scheffenberger, whatever. What is it? For Nashville, Scheffenberger. I mean, they have some fast players.
Yep.
Anyway, but in my opinion, he'll never be a great coach. Sometimes he gets a fit so he, his track record. So he was the original Montreal coach. Didn't do well there, but it was the beginning of their franchise. He was the Red Bulls coach. He did quite well there, although they always burned out in the playoffs. They didn't come close really to winning the MLS Cup. They were in the playoffs. His overall record was good, and he was in the Red Bull system. So then he was an assistant coach under Rangnick, who is the Leipzig coach at that time. The Red Bull Leipzig finally, out of nowhere became a Champions League team in the Bundesliga in Germany.
Was Rangnick at United for a little bit?
Yes, he ended up being the Manchester United coach. And he is now the Austria coach, manufacturing that amazing run in Austria.
Okay.
Here comes Atlanta.
I don't know why Lennon passed that.
I
He
know.
shot it.
Oh,
no left foot.
Hit it.
Right at the goalkeeper.
Should have scored in this.
Is that Fortune or
New England
Mayumba? I can't see from here.
I can't
game.
see.
Yamba, I think. But
Yeah. Oh no,
Fortune.
Anyway, so he did. So then he got his own job because he's in the Red Bull coaching system, right? So Red Bull owns a team in Austria, and then they own a team in the Bundesliga, and they own a team in the MLS, right? Red Bull the drink. And so he got a job with the Austrian team. He won the title twice in Austria, and he got them into the Champions League proper, which they had never done, which is all really, really good, right? So then he got promoted to Leipzig, the actual German team that was coming off as a Champions League team, right? And he bombed. I mean, they fired him in a heartbeat. It didn't even last a season. And people were like, oh, he never got a chance. But that's his system, the Red Bull system that he took over, and he really bombed, right? Yeah. And then he eventually got rehired at Leeds. So Leeds was in the relegation zone. They hired him. He saved them barely. They finished 16th, I think.
Okay.
Just barely missed relegation. They said, all right, now's your chance to build. He got a chance. He signed a couple of Americans. That's when he got Weston McKennie. He got Tyler Adams, right? And then bombed. It was in the relegation zone. They were 18th or 19th. Yeah. They were in second to last place, and he got fired again.
And they still got relegated.
So when you see a coach who does really, really well sometimes and poorly other times, it's usually because they're super committed to one system, and occasionally they just have the players that it works for, and sometimes it doesn't. Right? So that's what I think Jesse Marsh is. He's a one-trick pony. He coaches the one way, and he knows how to do it, and he can't even develop it with a team that well. So I'm not high on him. I know a lot of fans are really impressed by his knowledge because he talks a lot of sophisticated tactics, and I think he does understand the game really well. But I don't think he can coach it.
I think at the end of the day, you're right. I think he's got a one-dimensional approach to the game, and if it came down to it, wouldn't flex from what talent he has on how to maximize that.
Right.
So.
Right.
But
if he got Atlanta United and he had Almada or whatever, he would still be like, no team pressing. That's not good, right? You have to say, if you have the better team than anybody else and you have the players in the middle, then build that way.
Agreed.
At a national team, it's even worse because the club team, you can at least, if that's your system, you can over time just try to get the players for you. Now at Leeds, they got him the players that he wanted and he still bombed.
Yeah.
But in the national team, it's even worse. You're stuck with whoever's in your country, right? So if you're a national team coach, you have got to be flexible in tactics. You've got to understand your players. I mean, this is what Southgate, if there's ever a poster for the problem, right? Southgate is a defensive coach, right? It worked really, really well for a little bit of time when England had some really good defenders and didn't have that great of attacking system. He now has the most attacking team in all of Europe. It's the first time they've ever had 6 players on one starting team who scored 20 or more goals in the top leagues in Europe.
Worst chances created.
And they have the worst chances created in the whole thing. And it's because he trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Like, he just forcing, like he took Trent Alexander and he was a wing forward going guy for Liverpool, great player, but all attacking player, even though he plays right back. And he was like, oh, I'm going to play him as a second defensive midfielder. Yeah. Because he has to, again, it's like Pineda. He's like, in this case, Pineda would never have 3 defensive midfielders. In Southgate's case, he had to have 2 defensive midfielders. He couldn't play without 2 defensive midfielders. Like, I can't do it. Like, I'll have a seizure, right? Like, and if you're looking at the system, right? So if Southgate, right, he's got Trippier, right, and he's got Walker, who are both can defend and they're physical and
great defenders,
right? And they go forward too for their club teams. And he believed, like, he can't see it. So when he's looking at that team, you would say, look, you've got on the front line, you've got Kane, right, from Bayern Munich. You've got Bellingham, who is the best player for Real Madrid, right? You've got Foden, who is the leading scorer in England, right, outside of Holland, right?
How is it that Foden has such a, shambolic tournament so far, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, because I literally, if you go talk to my son,
like
Simon,
some people would say he's like the Ballon d'Or type of candidate right now, coming after the
Man City first of all, I will tell you that
how is that possible?
Because Foden is a perfect player playing off a central striker. He's real cheeky. He moves in and around him or whatever. He has to be in the middle, and he has to be not be the focal of attention. So with Erling Haaland, he's terrific. And to be honest, England has it. They've got Kane, who is, maybe not Erling Haaland, but he's a big physical guy.
They got Bellingham.
Right?
Come on, they got 2 distractions.
So all you need to do is play Foden through the middle. So what does he do? He forces his system, the front 3, and he's got Foden playing a winger.
Yeah.
And that's and I said this to Simon, my son, who does the social media for the podcast. I made him a bet. I said, Foden is going to be the worst player in the Euros. He was like, you got to be kidding me. He was the best player in Manchester City, second best player, one of the best players in England. He scores all these goals. I'm like, he's going to be crap.
I love the fact.
And I win. He actually came, my son came to me. He's like, you were right.
Dave doesn't lie. That's one thing I know about you.
He does not.
But you do like to brag about being right.
Yeah.
but you were right.
The reason why I was so frustrated is like, so you have all that attacking talent, right? You've got Saka, you've got Bellingham, you've got Kane, you've got Foden, right? You've got Trent Alexander, right? Amazing players, right? And so what you need to do, does it sound, bring a bell, Atlanta United fans, right, is you need to get your back 4 and your defensive midfielder just to stay at home, right? Be aggressive, win the ball, recycle it. But if you're talking to Trippier or Walker, he's got Trippier and Walker still going forward, and you're like, why? Does England is Trippier or Walker the best option on the ball, or would you rather have Bellingham or Foden?
Right. So this sounds like a Wiley, Lennon versus Araujo.
Yes.
Who would you have rather up there, Araujo or Lennon?
So Southgate has his system, right, and he's forced that. Right. And not only did he do that, so he still has those guys going back. And so he's got to have another midfielder. He's only got one player who plays defense at all in the midfield, which is Rice, right? Declan Rice. And he's not even actually he's a fabulous player.
Rice, baby, according to Hayden.
but he's not truly necessarily defensive midfielder. He can do it, right? But he's a true midfielder, right? He's only got one. So he's forced Alexander in the middle, right? and he's having those go forward on the outside, and all they're doing is clogging people's space, and he's got an all attacking player playing defensive midfield, and it's just, and Foden is playing out wide, and it's shambolic.
Yeah.
The whole thing. If you're playing England, play with your 4, and you just say to Trippier and Walker, like we should have said for Atlanta United for years, right? You could go forward occasionally, like nobody's saying you have to be back all the time, like, but mostly sit and defend.
Yeah.
Have your back 4, really good back 4, have Declan Rice sit in front of it, and then just let it go. So Bellingham and Foden play just behind Kane, free license to go everywhere. Arnold Alexander plays a winger where he should have been, his natural player. And then Saka plays the other winger. So you got speed on the wings. You got a striker in the middle. You got moving and whatever. It'd be amazing.
So I have a question.
Why?
With Atlanta,
Because he's so obsessed with his stupid system.
He's heating up.
I love it.
He's on fire.
Question. 4 in the back. I think it's your preference for Atlanta United with the talent we've had over the last year.
Yeah, it depends. Like, it's not always my preference.
Not,
but yeah.
not always, but
Yeah.
like as a core concept,
Yeah.
I think you have said that. Yeah, when you're on the road and you're up, there's certain things like we are here against New England, losing 2-0. Actually, you're okay with the lineup that we put out there with.
I liked it. Yeah.
But Caleb Wiley as our left back. In that situation, I think we all agree his talents are forward pacing. Would you have just made him, if you were in charge, two years ago? Let's flashback 2 years ago. Would you, and knowing that you're going to play a 4 in the back most of the time, he doesn't fit as the left fullback.
Right.
Would you have put like a Ronald Hernandez back there as your left back and trained him up as Ronald, you're my left back. We're going to make you a pure defender.
We ran Gutman out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he could have played behind Wiley.
Yeah.
And Gutman came up as a sort of more of an attacking player anyway, but Gutman's super smart, and he actually even knows how to defend.
Right.
I'm not a problem with Wiley playing left back, but if you're going to play him at left back, you better teach him how to defend.
Yeah, but that chapter. I mean, that is his career.
It's gone now.
It's gone. Like the last 2-3 years have been wasted on Wiley.
Yeah, because nobody
figuring out how to. All he does is back up, dude.
Nobody
Doesn't know how to.
I
defend.
mean, nobody. If you want to talk about nobody, and this is true worldwide, nobody knows how to teach. I mean, there are obviously some people, probably all in Italy, but nobody knows how to teach people how to play outside back defensively. Nobody. I mean, the number of coaches where I'm just like, oh, my outside backs go forward or whatever. But you're like, well, why play outside back if you're not going to defend first?
Yeah.
And so then you have to teach them, right? And,
So
for example, we're talking all the time about, exchanges and whatever, right? I was listening a little bit to our last podcast, and we were talking about, how twice Muyumba lost his guy, and it was actually Escobar, right? And he was wide open on the corner kicks or whatever. So my point is so the first rule of defending is you never leave your guy unless you can win the ball. Right. So it doesn't mean you can't leave your guy, right? You should get off your guy. But the first rule is when you're defending a guy, you got the guy and your job is to keep that guy from scoring. So you get physical with them. You're on them. You deny them the ball. If they're in the box, you make sure you get to the ball first. Right. But you don't leave them.
Yeah.
Right. You don't leave a guy. And so many times, if you watch Atlanta United in the penalty area, right, we have guys just leave. I mean, the goal that we gave up in this game,
waiting for somebody to do something because we're like, oh, we got guys back and compact. The principle of the game is to be back and compact, Dave.
But
wait, if we're just back and compact, isn't that the principle of the game?
Yeah, and honestly, it's in my opinion that's so symbolic, and there is no such thing as a zone in your own penalty area, because in your own penalty area, all it takes is a toe or a flick and it's a goal. Mm-hmm. So you've got to get to the ball first. And the first thing you should always do as a defender in the box, right, is be physical. The number of guys who can shrug off a defender, get to a ball in a timing place and still score, Like if they can do that, sometimes tip your hat.
Right.
Like
I mean,
You
if
gotta
you're
do that.
if anybody's still listening right now, like go back the first goal where
Yeah.
Wiley was dancing 6 to 7 feet away from the player.
Yeah.
Like that's all I've seen all season from him as a
Yeah.
left fullback.
because coaches have taught him the opposite. Like the coaches have taught him to be like tactically and to be inside and to be, so whatever. What you should have said, look, you're a physical, fast guy. Your job is to be on a guy, get on him, match up, and nobody can run by you.
Yeah.
Nobody's faster than you, and you're physical.
And yes, Wiley, don't get silly. Keep your head. Don't give him a penalty. Don't dive in. Don't poke. Don't give him a penalty kick. Just if you get beat, you get beat, and that's okay because there's going to be moments in these games where you get beat. Okay, it's going to happen.
It happens.
Shake it off, move on. But I'd rather see you get beat by getting up there on him.
Yep.
Okay, make a decision. Make it hard.
Yeah.
Make it hard, especially until he gets inside the 18.
Because the moment you make somebody beat you, they're often going to put the ball out where the next guy can get it. Especially if they're smart. So you need guys when you're defending. You need the first ball defender to be really physical and trying to win the ball, and then you need somebody reading off of it,
sweeping it.
Yeah, exactly. You need basically a marking back and a sweeper. It's all two. Like we used to play. Mikey Dowes and I are old enough where everybody played a sweeper. Because this was the sweeper position for those who want to go back to, here's your soccer 101 history lesson. It's Beckenbauer who invented the sweeper position. He was a center back, and he was so good at getting off his guy to win the ball that the coach finally just said, you go anywhere and win the ball. Right. And that became the sweeper. And so then everybody loved that. And so every team had a sweeper, except for not everybody was Beckenbauer. Right. So you need a guy who can read the ball, and you need but guys who can read the ball.
Chipper, if you're listening, you are a good sweeper, but you're no Beckenbauer. But Chipper was a pretty good sweeper. Roswell High School, Stingham Hornets.
Oh, shout out to Chipper.
So the guys who are sweepers, right? The other thing about a sweeper is you cannot be a sweeper, which is also the equivalent of a zonal reading guy, right? If you don't have people marking up, because the sweeper is useless if there's not a guy being physical on them, right? Because what happens is they play to the open guy, then the open guy turns, that guy stands up, and the sweeper becomes useless. So what a sweeper is really good for is if you have one guy who loves to step and really mark tight, then you have another guy reading off of it. Now you've got a defense.
Yeah.
That's what you need. You need those combinations.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but if you're an outside back, if you're Wiley, right, with his attributes, he should have been physical. He should learn to grab a guy. He should learn to run with them. He should learn to foul sometimes, like you didn't see Williams do on that play. Like, learn it, right? Learn how to play the game. And, I've coached a long time. And the number of times I've ever heard any coaches in my club or the other team talking to anybody about how you play defense, I mean, it's got to be way less than 1% of the time.
Interesting.
That's amazing.
Because you would coach defense. I do remember listening to you coach. You would always be like, you would.
Well, the thing about it is, so if you go watch a practice, right, in a typical American practice, there'll be a moment where they play, one-on-one to goal, right? This happens all the time. All coaches do it, If you listen to the coaches in that moment, they are only talking to the attacking player, period.
Interesting.
Right? Occasionally they're telling him, get in a stance and try to read the ball, but they are not teaching defending or whatever. And it's 1v1. So you would think half the time would be spent on the guy trying to beat him and half the time would be spent on the guy trying to defend them. They say nothing to the guy defensive.
Interesting.
Never.
Great point.
Right? It just happens all the time because nobody knows what to do.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, they just think defense is magical.
Yeah, they just assume that it's all happening naturally as somebody's coming at you.
And if it doesn't work, they say, get me a faster guy so that he doesn't go by her. Yeah.
And that's so true. I'm finding about just the U.S. in general. We depend on athleticism so much as opposed to actually developing soccer players.
And if you look at the great Italian defensive teams, and they've had a series of players, they've won World Cups, right? And European championships and Champions League.
Italy went
off
in
of defenders. They just won the last Euros. They
I know,
beat
but
England.
the World Cup 90 is their last win.
When was their last World Cup win? I can't
1990.
remember. You have to
Carmen,
look that
can
up.
us because that was the year they hosted, I think, with
But
the
my bottom line is
the
that
Etrusco soccer ball.
no, they won. Was it a Euros? They won with
I'm talking
Cannavaro and
World
Nesta.
Cup. World Cup.
I know, but I thought it was a World Cup. Didn't they beat France in the World Cup final? Anyway, with Cannavaro and Nesta, unbelievable.
Yeah,
But it's all been defense. My point being that if you watch their teams, they've won major tournaments with just defenders. And those guys, right, they are not big, physical, fast. I mean, the guys people probably know is Chiellini, who's now played briefly for LA.
Yep, 2006.
Yeah, 2006, the last time they won a World Cup. That was
06.
an all defensive team. Can you pull up the roster for that team? Look at the back line.
You know, I don't have to use the interweb.
06.
Continue.
So yeah, I thought 90 was the last one, but
It was Cannavaro, right, who was the center back who single-handedly won the tournament. And then I want you to pull up how tall Cannavaro is, because American coaches are like, I need to give you a center back who's 6'4". And you want to see how tall Cannavaro is? I mean, he might not be taller than Mikey Dobbs.
Who's the United defender you like that Pep just praised?
Oh, yeah, Martinez.
He's
also not tall.
Not tall.
Oh, my God, a defender. If you watch him, he reads the game and he's aggressive and he goes in and tackles. I'm like, he looks to me like Cannavaro.
Yeah, there you go.
Like,
So I didn't have it wrong.
Goodness.
All right.
And he is playing center back for Argentina in the Copa America, and he's really good.
He's looked really good.
Oh,
He's really good. The
yeah.
only
Okay.
problem that he's had is staying healthy.
I
All right.
to say, gets hurt every second.
Predictions: who's going to win the Copa America?
Oof.
I mean, the dark horse is Colombia. They've looked terrific.
So they just tied Brazil the other night.
Yeah,
They look
but
really
they won
good.
the group.
Yeah.
They beat us 5-0.
Yeah, they sure did.
They just wiped the pants off us, and
Yeah,
they haven't
look
lost
good.
in 21 games.
Yeah, I think it's 22 now.
22 now.
Yeah.
Okay,
They look real good.
really good.
Oh, Cannavaro's 5'9".
Yes. Where's your 6'4"?
Carmen, who won the World Cup in
Oh goodness.
1990? Look that up.
But wait, was Cannavaro on that 2000? He was the center back for
he
the
was the
2006.
captain.
Yeah, he single-handedly won that tournament as a center back. People, if you go back and watch the highlights of that game, Italy didn't score many goals, right? I mean, their goals
Kind of like Chiellini in the Euros. The
and
previous
Chiellini
one.
won it in the Euros.
Yeah.
They beat that great England team.
Yeah, 98 was France, beat Brazil 3-0.
1990.
90, I'm sorry.
Oh,
90
90,
was
that-
West Germany.
Yeah, West
Against
Germany
Argentina?
over
Oh.
Argentina in the final.
They
yeah.
did in 82.
That was the
Italy won in 82.
82.
Maradona lost
Okay.
that final to West Germany.
I'm just thinking of like
And
a
England
Azure
lost in the
blue-
semifinals, despite Gascoigne having one of the great games of all time. And then afterwards in this biography, he admitted that he couldn't sleep, so he went out drinking the whole night.
I mean, some people do better drinking. I mean,
So-
you gotta know who you are,
Like, but then he died of basically drank himself to
or not.
death.
Damn it.
Yeah, a great player. I mean,
Yes.
great player. I don't know if you remember the classic. You know the Vinnie Jones, photo. You know who Vinnie Jones is. He was a professional defender who's now an actor. Anyway, he's a famous photo in the Premier League. I think he was at Sheffield, and he got caught on camera back then. It wasn't a video, but it was a photograph, and because he was guarding Gascoigne, and Gascoigne was amazing. And so off the ball, he got caught basically grabbing and squeezing his nads. and Gascoigne is like, he was a hard defender.
So-
But it was Gascoigne was the guy. Nobody remembers the other guy in the picture.
So
And he was because he's great.
that was the version of VAR that long ago. Was like one photographer who got the frame.
There's a picture. I'm sure you can
London
call it
Times.
up. We'll post it on our Twitter account. The very famous picture of Vinnie Jones, because before becoming an actor, that was what he was famous for grabbing Gascoigne's nads and
That's
squeezing really hard
hilarious.
off the ball.
Oh,
Like there's no ball around or whatever. Just somebody happened to be taking a picture. And it had to have been because it was Gascoigne, who was one of the best players in the world.
I just pulled up the picture.
Yeah.
Flash it up. Flash it up for the
See if I
viewers.
can-
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know if you can do that.
Oh my gosh. I'm
So
sorry.
we got what?
70th minute. We're down 2-0 still.
20 minutes left in this New England game. We haven't focused here.
Yeah, how are we going to do?
We had a couple chances a few minutes ago, and
Yep. We've had the odd chance. We've had a pretty good amount of possession, right? I feel like the 3 defensive midfielders, though, we're not playing them anymore because he brought off Muyemba and he put on Saba, which, I got no problem with that. We're down 2-0. Now you got to abandon it, right?
oh,
To be fair to our team, right, I think the tactics were right. What's not right is coaching what we do in the box. Like Wiley, you're pointing out, not closing that down is just not good, right? Although, to be fair to Valentino, it still looked better than Pineda. We used to leave him 20 yards wide open.
oh yeah.
At least he was
At least
closer.
like I said, it was 6 feet, and he just didn't know what to do.
And that's why you're more frustrated, because he was closer. He
Yeah.
could have shut it down.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think Valentino, and
go.
what I wonder is he coaching it, or is he just saying you have more freedom, go do what you're doing, and the players are like, that's what I should do? Was that Wiley?
Off the post?
That was
Wiley?
off the crossbar.
Bummer.
Yeah, the keeper completely beat.
Yeah.
Well, you were just talking about what Wiley's good at. Here it is.
I think that went off the
right?
upright or the
first touch, left foot, and how did that not go in? Did the goalkeeper get a touch?
I think that went off the post.
No, the goalkeeper touched that first. That's a corner.
Well done.
Okay, corner.
Thank you.
Another save. I mean, they've been really unlucky that way.
Yeah.
We've been really unlucky.
If we can get a goal here in the next 3 minutes, we might be able to equalize this.
The
Change
goals
the
that we
momentum.
gave up have been basically because people don't know how to one-on-one defend. And then the fact that we haven't scored has been a little unlucky.
That's a pretty
A
ambitious.
couple of great saves.
Who's shooting that? Who just shot that? That is way too ambitious.
Was that Fortune?
That was 40 yards out. Somebody needs to take Fortune and tell him if he ever shoots a ball from that far again, he's never
Although
starting again.
Earlier in this game and in the St. Louis game, he hit a cannon.
That's great. That's
So he's good at that, at least.
What?
But I don't
Hold on.
disagree with
How
you.
many goals come from outside the box? This is a
Like, very little.
Dave Katz.
If you're
stat.
Pep Guardiola, you're pulling your hair out because he says
Stop.
you cannot shoot from outside the box because nobody scores from outside.
Nobody scores from that far. out.
Statistically speaking, it's like taking in basketball parlance, it's like taking a shot from just inside the 3-point line.
Okay.
You should never, ever, ever do it.
Not
You should
like
only take a dunk, a layup, or a 3-pointer. Because that's the statistics.
Mhm.
Right. And the same thing with soccer. You should not shoot from outside the 18.
Yeah.
Now, I would say not never.
But again,
there's moments when you got momentum.
When
but-
sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but again, these are like
Oh
soccer.
boy. Oh, good tackle.
Wow,
Was it
Is
a
that
good tackle?
Gregerson or is it a penalty kick?
he's probably gonna call
No,
a penalty
no.
kick, but thank goodness he
Okay,
didn't. 'Cause
all right,
I didn't see that as a PK.
Was that Williams or Gregerson who made the tackle?
But again, this is about coaching,
Yeah.
and whoever the next coach is, because I don't expect Rob Valentino to do it. To say that, like Fortune, and I've seen Fortune do it a lot.
Yeah.
Stop shooting it.
Stop. I mean,
From
those
that
people who
far
will remember
out.
P.D. Martinez
It's like an Atlanta
Oh.
or
United.
Araujo, the
Oh.
number of times they would cut in and sky it, and you're like, don't do it. You're a better player than that. Go make the extra pass and get us a better option.
How and man, we never really talked about that, honestly,
Uh-oh.
as much as we should have.
Ah,
Breakaway
how'd
for
this
New
happen
England,
again?
and they
Dang
scored.
it.
3-0.
Son of
New
a
England.
gun.
This game's over.
It's way
3
over.
nothing to New
And-
New England good?
Oh, offside.
Offsides.
Flag is up, buddy.
Again.
Veroni.
We'll take it.
How long do you think linesmen are going to be in the game? How many
I was
more years?
not-
Not
I'm
long.
wondering.
They're
Man, a little
'Cause
robot,
what- 'cause
a
they do
little
nothing.
robot that goes like up and
Yeah.
down the line and just waves the flag based on all the
sure.
Pretty much.
Technology?
Because honestly, what they're told is to
Oof.
keep the ball down. He's on his own half. They can't be offside.
He's
That's got to
leaning.
come
He's
back.
leaning though.
No, it doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter even if you're leaning.
No, it's your feet.
Oh well, then he's on.
Is that true? Oh my God, there's so many crazy rules sometimes, right? So you have to be on your own side. And I think it's your feet have to be on your own side. I don't think leaning matters.
Okay, well then he was on.
Carmen. What's the internet have to say?
Oh,
That's the
goodness.
Google.
I
Okay,
think that's a
Google.
goal.
That's a great. I mean,
All right.
wow.
I've never seen that.
I would think it has to
About to
be.
learn.
Well, they're
when you have to be on your own half. That's what the rule says. You have to be on your own half. But is it your feet or is it a plane?
oh my gosh.
fucking
I never
God.
thought about that.
No, why would you ever see that?
Yeah. Because like in normal side, you'd always think it was the feet, like
The
we're
feet.
growing up.
I think it is the feet. I think if your feet are on
well,
your own
clearly
half,
not, because his feet were on the.
well, it's MLS, so they could have gotten that call wrong.
That's
easily.
true too. But oh my gosh, what is the rule?
I'm about to say, I'm trying to find FIFA because who knows what the internet says? They say all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Law 11.
You have to be on your own half, but I don't think.
But is your own half your head or your feet?
I think it says your feet have to be on your own half.
Let's come on offside.
would
11.
I would have always thought feet.
You cannot be, for those who are listening, you cannot be offside on your own half of the field, right? So he was on his own half of
His
the field,
feet
his
were
feet, but he was
clearly-
leaning over the line.
His feet were on the line, probably on the chalk.
No, his feet were behind, I think.
Maybe on the chalk or behind.
Player.
Okay, I'd have to see it again.
And then we got the whole thing about the chalk, because it turns out the chalk on the sidelines is actually out of play now. It's so crazy because in the game, the ball has to go completely over the line. But for a throw in, you can be on the line.
Yeah.
These are freaking nuts.
Is it okay? What is this?
I don't know the answer to
Okay.
this. I mean, how long have you and I been playing? I've never seen that.
Yeah, that is wild right there.
Player is in an offside.
See, this is a classic. Like Mikey Dobbs and I would be texting each other. What the F is the rule?
Yeah.
What is the exact wording of the rule? I know you have to be, if you're on your own side, you cannot,
Right,
only half the field, you cannot
But
be
what
outside.
is the definition of on your own
Yeah.
side? Is it you leaning over?
I don't
No
know.
idea.
I mean, the interweb says a player is in an offside position if any part of the head, body,
Okay,
or
so-
feet is in the opponent's half,
Okay, so
excluding the halfway line, and any part of the head, body, or feet is nearer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second
So-
last
So
opponent.
I
what they're
think that's-
saying is leaning is off.
yeah, so
Holy
and
crap.
that makes sense because he was like based on what I just saw from
That is nuts.
leaning is over. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that.
Never seen that.
Just learned something
Ever.
live here on the New England. That made this whole thing worth it.
If you're out there
Oh,
on
gosh.
the internet, and if anybody
have
knew
six
that
cards.
rule ahead of time, please
I
do
know. Let's
comment,
see. Who
because
didn't
there's
know that?
nobody who would have known that.
Oh my
I think if
goodness.
someone's out there and like, oh, I knew that, they're lying.
They're lying. They're absolutely lying. Nobody knew that.
I would have never thought that.
I don't even think that. I mean, the referees on the field are probably like, "What's the rule?
What's the rule? Yeah,
Somebody please get me the rule."
they stopped the referee in the center from being.
But that
able
should
to-
have been like a 3-minute VAR to figure that out.
You would think.
I know, impressive, right? There hasn't been in this game. I don't think there's been any huge
No.
delays.
No,
No,
On top of it. I like it.
bravo, whoever the ref is.
that's
or the-
nuts, because I would have said as a referee, that was off, by the way. I would have said as a referee, my first instinct is, had I known that and saw it, how I would have been like onside, his feet were inside his own half, and I would have been wrong.
Here's also, hold on. As we're watching this, right? Like
Yeah.
you said, that was offside, right?
Yeah.
This is also the problem with not having real-time technology call offside. Like with it should happen within like
Yeah, the computer
half a
can be
second.
fed the rules.
can be fed the rules,
It doesn't
and
have
there's
to
a
learn it.
huge red siren that goes off, and because what happens is like in that play, right?
Like in hockey when you score the goal.
right. The ball just got recycled back out.
Yeah.
And then they had another chance on goal after an offside play, which was to a disadvantage of Atlanta United.
Right.
But then they could have scored on the recycled play.
Yep.
It's not it's,
It's so
like
bad.
if you're going to bring technology in, then make it work. Is all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
well, that's Saba. That was a great chance.
That's a
That's
ni-
classic
it
Saba.
was a nice effort.
Classic Saba.
Classic Saba of good position, right idea, wrong finish. Oh, Wolf's on.
I mean, in the in the World Cup in Qatar, they really got it right. They just were like, we just built all the stadiums with a bazillion cameras, and it was
Not only did
they
they get
called
it
it
right,
semi-automated, but it was basically automated.
not only did they
Yeah.
get it right, they got it right from the very first game that Qatar played to open up the World Cup.
Yeah.
And it was the craziest offside
Yeah.
I'd ever
Oh, that's
seen
right.
in my
I do.
life.
Yep.
And the computer got it right. So if you want to go, you should go back and look at that one. It was like the weirdest, the way, I mean, the camera recognized how it ricocheted off of, I mean, it was literally one of the oddest
Madness.
offsides I'd ever seen.
I agree.
Offside. not offsides, that I had ever seen.
Nobody knows whether that's plural or singular. Don't worry
Oh,
about it.
some people will fight you to the death
I
about it.
know they
though.
will, but who cares?
Hey, Carmen, are you a double spacer or a single spacer?
Oh, stop it.
I'm a double spacer.
Oh,
yeah, I am too.
Carmen went to law school,
that's
so
how
that
they
doesn't
taught
count.
us.
Damn straight, this double spacer.
That
That's how
doesn't
they
count.
taught
Hey,
us.
that's how they taught us. It's not my
That's
fault.
the
Yes.
stupidest
Hey.
thing ever.
Come here, let's hug it out. It's not my fault. They taught me that.
By the way,
they taught us.
Like very
You know,
clearly double spacer.
they-
Carmen, I want to
Yeah.
say something.
Yeah.
So when Dobbs sent us that text about, and this is the second time he's texted me about like soccer is over for me because this is so horrible.
I love it. He does it every time, and Kat just ignores him.
No. I had a dream.
I think it gives him inspiration. actually.
No, I had a dream, and I was trying to hug Mikey Dobbs in the podcast to say it's gonna be okay.
Oh, so we had our moment.
And I woke up, and so now we had it. It's like
double spacing, which yeah, I mean, who knew?
And
By the way, that was like established by I forget what the right word is of
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
back in like 1913 or something crazy
The
like that.
formal, yeah. So
the
whoever is
Webster
like
dictionary.
Yeah.
You know.
So we were
Who cares?
it somehow got into the curriculum
Mhm.
during the 80s and 90s.
Yes, it did.
That double spacing
Like
was
when you type, I took typing lessons,
Correct.
and they were like double space.
That
Yeah,
was so
very serious.
stupid.
But I think I mentioned, I don't even know if it's on this podcast. That's the one way they can tell now that, like, if you type something for your kid,
Yeah.
it's if you double space after the period, they're
then
like,
you
this
know.
is not a young person. This is an old person that's typed
busted.
this. Yeah.
No, this
Oh, wait, they're just showing it again. They just showed it
Oh.
again in the half field.
No, it's hilarious. Lee and I went to Truist Bank to do
Wait, did they? I couldn't hear it because I got my headphones on. I thought the commentator said it was onside and they missed it.
I don't know.
If you're listening and you're not like us because you got headphones on,
Yeah.
you can actually hear the commentator tell us what they said.
What had happened?
They went back to review it at midfield. I love that play though, because you think with the number of games that we've played in and watched, you've seen it all, but
Yeah.
you've never seen
No,
it all.
that whole
There's always something.
that whole
there.
leaning over the line. I can't believe that.
Are you leaning over the line in midfield?
But I think we're reaching the end of the internet here because I went to our banker at Truist
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
she was like, I just had to lecture all these other young kids that they were sending these emails, which was improper. They were like using one space. I was like, you have to use two. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Well,
I was like, I had to tell her. I was like, I said,
Boomer.
I was like, Boomer, you and I look, I
That's
first
not
off,
true anymore.
I just want to tell you and I are in the same camp.
Yes.
I was like, first off, I'm with you, but second off, you have to go apologize to all these young kids. That you
I
work
thought
with.
it was stupid even in high school when they taught me. I'm like,
Because you're right.
why would you put two spaces? Just wasting space.
I now get it. With bad eyes, I need to see the space like in
Oh.
between stuff. I'm
Me
just,
too.
I'm just saying.
You're a
I'm
little-
just saying. I'm just saying.
She's a lawyer. Very good lawyer.
That's questionable.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Questionable.
But
very
double
questionable.
spacing is questionable.
Still gonna do it. Still
All
gonna
right,
do it.
84th minute.
This
What
game,
we
we got no hope.
should we commentate the last 84?
Yeah, let's do it.
All
Right, New England on the break, 1v4. They're clearly packing it in,
And
and he's
he's
still
still
beats the
going.
three guys. Still going, top of the box. Atlanta United recovers.
He's still
and
got the ball.
He's on a walkabout.
He's taking the entire Atlanta
Oh, and he
United
plays
team
it back right to Atlanta United. We gain
Oh,
possession.
foul
and
against
foul.
Atlanta United midfield.
But smart foul,
Yes,
right? Because
smart
that
foul.
stopped the momentum. We got a counter.
Now,
Right.
who's that guy with the ball? Because he was the last
gotta
guy
be
back a
Fortune.
second ago.
Fortune, desperation. It's out wide.
Plays it out to Saba, who's trying to take on a guy, crosses it, but doesn't clear the first
Out
man.
for
Out for a
corner
corner.
Have we
All
scored in a corner yet this year? I
Nope.
can't-
Still have yet to score in a corner.
not one.
Zero.
corner
Hmm.
And we were the number one a couple of years ago with the
Air
Air
Parata.
Parata.
Yeah.
Saba with the corner. New England not really playing true zonal. They looked like they had three zone and everybody else man marking. Smart. I mean, Caleb Porter, who, nobody's considering for anything. And he started out really, really struggling, but New England's playing way better recently because it's finally gotten a hold of the team. Maybe Carmen can tell us where New England is in the standings now.
All right,
Alrighty.
recycled back
moved
out
up.
to the top. played out wide to the left.
Switched over the top. And you notice like there's a guy right on him. You know how many times we would have a guy 30 yards from him? I mean, that's actually way better defending.
Oh, but
we're switching it around. They switch it out, and they've got another guy out, marking up. Gets beat inside by Lennon, but he has no left foot. Oh, and he pulls up with the hammy.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
no. Who pulled up with the hammy?
Lennon out.
No.
Sugar plum fairies.
3 to 4 weeks.
Switches it. Is that Silva? Switches it. Oh, and it's a bad ball. That's
Lennon is out for at least a month.
There goes our one, the backup plan, right? And Silva limping gingerly. That's not good either.
Not good towel.
And around the league scoreboard, we got NYSC 2-0 over Montreal. Oh, they're flipping the scoreboard too fast. Columbus on went up on Nashville. St. Louis up on San Jose.
Oh, we were ahead of New England. I didn't know New England was. I don't know.
Yeah, they were like
current.
last place. They were terrible.
I don't know. I don't know if this is current with the 2-0 lead or not, but New England was or is 12th, and we were our 9th.
Yeah.
We're about to drop down.
But New England's been playing much, much better after a horrible start.
Do you think that Bruce Arena will ever coach again?
It depends. We have a direct line to Arthur Blank or not.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's another great move from New England. 3v1, and we foul.
Surrounded by 3 people.
Tyler Wolf, head down, dejected.
Didn't need to foul him either.
No, 3v1. Win the ball. That's youth for you. Not a defender. Okay, free kick for New England out on the left.
Minutes clicking off the clock.
Yeah, time running out for New
England.
England. The only time I can ever think of 2 goals in this amount of time. Carmen, Manchester United, 1999 Champions League final. Bayern Munich. 2 goals in 2 minutes.
Yes.
Let's go for that. We don't want to be Homer commentators, though. So not looking good, looking bleak for Atlanta. Switching possession, streaming out of our own end.
Zero shape, but still going forward.
Was that Lennon? Did Lennon just make a run, or was that Sleaze? We're so far away from the
That was
TV.
I know. I can't tell who's who.
That was Lennon.
If it's Lennon, then the hamstring can't be too bad. That's got to be offside. It was an early break.
That's a PK.
It would have been a PK, but I think it was offside.
They're not even.
Flag is up. See, the flag is out. Everybody knew that he was off by a mile. Put the flag up an hour earlier. I mean, I could see that from here, and I can hardly see the TV.
Yeah.
Was he out his own end again? No, that was clearly on our end and clearly offside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more than leaning.
That's full foot.
But to be fair, if you watch the New England forward, whatever his name is, he's dropping 5-10 yards and making a run each time, right? So now we brought off Silva. Lennon is still.
So
now it looked like maybe he didn't do his hamstring. Maybe he was just cramping. Firmino is on.
So we're going to end up with 2 wins,
Hernandez.
2 ties, and a loss by Valentino after this game.
A loss at a last place New England team.
There's still a chance, people. There's still a chance.
But like I said, kind of more that I care about than anything is like watching enjoyable soccer in general. Like, is the.
But how do we have enjoyable soccer once we've lost Gigi and Almada?
Yeah.
That's tough.
It's really tough. I mean, raise your hand if you think the team is more entertaining without Gigi and Almada.
Hayden did rewind for us and said that the commentator said about the offside call, so tight, is there a body part in the offside position? ? Still tough. Is it clear in offside? So surprised.
Oh, we just scored.
We scored.
There we go. Look at this. Might happen.
Rios.
Here we go.
The Rob Valentino dream is alive.
No.
Let's go.
When I said that I hate Rios, there's probably all these people losing their mind, right? But what did I say? That Rios can finish in the box, that I'd like to play him in the last 10 minutes. Where did he just do?
Finish in the box.
In the last 10 minutes. Right? So he could have been off the whole game, and he could have just done that late because he can do that. Yeah. He's not bad in the box, but he just has no movement in the game. So this is where understanding the player, right? You say Rios is good at that.
Who hit that ball to
Hernandez.
Hernandez? Okay.
Who's now on it right back. I think Linden came off.
Oh, yeah. Linden did.
But I think I think that Lennon looked like, thankfully, not a hamstring. It looked like a cramp.
Got it.
So that's way better. So we're in it. 3 minutes of extra time. Is there another Rob Valentino miracle? This guy has better luck. You know, it's funny because he has better luck than Pineda ever had. And Pineda's probably losing his mind and listening to the podcast. And
No, but luck is what you make. There's no luck in
I think
what
that
you
with the
create.
freedom and whatever, you know, because he doesn't
Especially
put the
after-
handcuffs on him, you make your own luck.
5 games. But I don't think we're winning this, but
No.
still.
Probably not. Come
But
on, guys.
I hope that Valentino
Positivity. How many minutes? I can't see that. Is that 5 or
there's
3?
four.
2 left. Well, 1.5.
last push.
Okay, here we go.
Is there a last chance in this game for Atlanta United? We played to Wiley. He drops in the middle. Looks like Slee's on the ball. Slee's placed wide to Hernandez.
Go on.
Hernandez going at the player. Saba not really available. He comes back. Oh, Saba makes a great move and beats his player.
Do him, Saba.
And he plays it off the defender. Deep
throw in deep by the corner.
Get everybody in the box. Long throw. No,
they
we
go
don't have
back.
that.
They go back to Bartosz Slees.
Slees. To Hernandez.
Hernandez.
The second to Gregerson. Gregerson out wide to Wiley. Wiley playing forward. Silva no longer on the field, so that's not got to be Firmino up there. Wiley looking. You can't cross that. There's only one guy in the box. He looked at that and correctly decided not to. Right?
We got about 30 seconds left before
We're
the
playing
ref
a little back and forth on the
blows the
sideline.
whistle. This is going to be
Finally,
the
an
last
incisive
opportunity.
ball, a little ball in,
Nope,
and the
goalkeeper
goalkeeper
has
comes to
it.
collect.
This
And
guy-
he falls. Yellow card, just like we talked about.
Oh, he got up pretty fast comparatively to
But
most people.
still, anybody who falls should get a yellow card.
Right. He kicks this into
Were,
the
were you
corner.
fouled? Were you fouled? I would go up to the player and I'd be like, "Were you fouled? Was there somebody who fouled you?"
Do you think this ref's going to give an extra 30
Did you
30
see dude look
seconds?
behind him before he put the ball on
or
the
is he
ground?
going to blow the whistle right now?
We'll find out.
Well,
We're now past the official time of the
All
expiring
right,
of the
last
game.
chance.
Yeah, here
This
it is.
This is
There
it.
it
Last
is.
chance.
Here we go.
Breakaway.
Sleece charging through the middle. He plays out wide to Sawa. Can he beat his man
Last
and get a ball in?
Moment.
Oh,
The
handball.
cross gets blocked, goes back out wide of the corner. New England's got it.
Ah,
Anywhere
that's
will
probably
do.
it.
Gonna be the game.
Oh, nope,
No,
nope.
they're
He's gonna let us
giving
get
us
his
a
throw.
throw-in.
He's gonna give us a throw. We're not even gonna
There's
wait for
2
the ball
balls
to get
on
out.
the field.
No, we're good.
Play on.
Somebody get the ball in the box. Oh,
That's it, folks.
that was
Yeah.
Cross came up short.
Oh,
there it is.
Wow.
And
That's time.
And
All right.
Valentino's undefeated run comes to an end.
Okay.
Well-
all right. You're away from home.
5 games, first loss. We know that Pineda would have lost this game, so
Oh, easily.
so how are we going to close this out? There's 3 questions I have.
okay. 3 questions. Do we each get to answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Carmen,
Yes, sir.
you're first up. Who wins the European Championships?
Ooh. I have to say Spain now. I was with the Dutch before, but Spain's looking real good.
Pray you're correct. Go ahead. You're next.
Spain, Germany.
Ooh, Germany's looking good too.
I think I'm going to go with Carmen. I'm going to take Spain. I love the younger players.
God, I want to give you guys a hug. I want Spain to win more than anything, but I think France will probably win.
Not
so,
really.
Conte is looking like a player reborn.
He really is.
Unbelievable.
Now, here's
Looks
the reason.
fantastic.
The reason I want France to win is because I'm going to make a lot of money.
Oh,
happen.
really?
You have a bet on
We have a
Germany?
little neighborhood pool, and I put in
Okay.
like $100, but it'll be exponential based on Spain's relevance in
But
that.
their
Okay.
coach is such a douche, and if he wins, he'll be the most arrogant mother. Oh my goodness!
Mm.
But let's all root on Spain.
We will
Okay.
root for Spain.
Spain.
Second question, Carmen.
Yes, sir.
Who's winning Copa America?
Yeesh, I have no idea. I think Brazil is on the upswing, and I'm going to say Brazil.
Brazil has an amazing team.
Yep.
I mean, their front line is really, really good.
Mhm.
Argentina has the better coach, Scaloni, whatever his name is. It looks to me really, really for good.
Colombia ain't bad either.
And
Colombia's
Colombia,
not bad
those
at
are
all.
the 3. You got 3 to
At
pick
all.
from.
Uruguay under
No,
Bielsa?
Bielsa's not going to win.
And that's Brazil, Uruguay's next round, right? They have to play Uruguay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave? Who? So who did you say, Carmen?
I said Brazil.
Brazil. You?
I'd love to pick the dark horse in Colombia. Love them. I think Brazil's going to win, but I would love to take, if I'm going to take the Mikey Dobbs and me, I'd love to see Colombia upset. So if you ask me the smart pick, it's Brazil, but my heart is with Colombia.
Okay.
And what'd you get?
Because you guys have already picked,
You're going to take Argentina? Come on. Gotta.
I am absolutely taking Argentina.
All right. Nice.
Well, first off, because I don't know if you watch Argentina, they look
They've played really well.
They look pretty rock solid.
Yeah, and they've got a more rested Messi because he was out a couple of games. He looks like he's coming back. I think it's a great pick. I mean, honestly, any one of those three teams, they look pretty equal.
Yeah,
all right.
Any three. I think
there's no favorites wide open.
I think for sure it's going to be one of those three.
Yeah, it's got to be one of those.
One of us is going to be correct.
Yes, and Hayden has for the Euros, the winner of Spain, Germany is going to win the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And he has for Copa Colombia.
Hayden.
Yeah, it's not a bad.
Do I get a free beer now? Because I agree with Hayden.
But yeah, Argentina. I've watched all their games through and through.
Real good.
They just look really solid defensively as well.
A rested Messi brings another dimension.
Yes.
Interesting.
So, who is Argentina playing next? I don't know.
No idea.
Because Spain and Germany, right? Like I agree. Like you're knocking out two.
Yeah.
The ironic part is how bad Southgate is. Their side of the draw is terrible, right? Everybody is on the same side of the draw, right? If you pull up the Euros draw, right? Everybody is on one side of the draw, right? And England is there. They'll probably get to the final through nothing.
Yeah. Let's see. So Argentina plays Ecuador tomorrow at 9. And we got, am I supposed to pull up the Euro draw?
Sure. Let's put the Europe draw. Because look at the side of the brackets. If you go back to, there's some have been decided already, but.
What do we got? So we have Spain versus Germany on Friday, Portugal versus France on Friday.
That's all on one side.
All on one side. And then on the other side, we have England versus Switzerland on Saturday and Netherlands versus Turkey.
This is where I think, okay, let's just talk England then, right? Like
England, Southgate is one lucky mother.
He's going to get lucky. He's going to beat Switzerland, who's been fabulous all tournament.
And they're going to all of a sudden not look the same.
Yeah,
but they're not winning the final against the winner of Spain.
No, they're not, but they're going to make it so far that it's like.
It'd be like, oh, yeah, you got to another final. I'm the greatest coach of all time. And you're like, you played terribly.
Yeah.
You just, every time the bracket just like, clears, it's like Moses. Remember the seas?
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So we talked.
I love the way you had to check in with us. You're like, you heathens. Do you remember that whole?
Probably not. Like you're talking about the least religious person.
There was a movie, Charlton Heston.
Oh, beautiful scenery. Way they parted the sea is beautiful.
There you go.
There it is.
So, okay, we've talked
question number
Copa
2.
America.
Carmen, are you recording all this?
Yeah, we got it. We got it.
Now, who is going to win MLS Cup?
Who's gonna win the MLS
I have
Cup?
not been paying attention.
There's only 2 teams you can pick.
What are you gonna say? Columbus? You always go Columbus.
The 2 best teams are Columbus and Cincinnati.
Yeah, they're in the Supporter Shield debate.
The West is way weaker.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's LA and LA at the top of the West, and neither of those teams are.
You don't think Miami's got a run? Come on.
Miami's got a legitimate chance. And whoever comes out of Miami, Cincinnati, or Columbus is going to win it all. But I'm not going to bet against Messi and Tata. But the problem I have is down the stretch after this whole long season in the playoffs. Do you really? If Messi is 100% and fit, then sure.
Carmen,
do you think that's going to happen?
Who's winning MLS Cup?
I'm going
July
to go.
prediction.
Let's go Cincy. I'm going to go Cincy.
Cincy.
I think these old people are going to get old for Miami.
Look good defensively.
Is that your bet too?
No.
What you going with?
Well, the thing about
I know what my bet is. So.
The thing that bothers me about Columbus is they just sold their best young midfielder outside Nagbe. They sold him to Europe.
That was sad when he left.
Yeah, they keep selling the best players and they're still good.
I'll only pick my prediction. I'll put some money on it if anybody wants to, 10 bucks.
So I
10.
say it's
Ooh.
good.
Yeah.
So Wilfred Nancy
Uh-huh.
is. I was telling my son this morning, yesterday, whatever. I told him Wilfred Nancy is the Pep Guardiola of the MLS. He's by far the best coach. And so you wouldn't bet against him.
Okay.
I will.
And they were super focused. They were super focused on the Champions League, the CONCACAF Champions League. They got to the final and lost, and it really took away from them. They have a bunch of games in hand, but they finally, gotten back to playing. They keep selling their best players, but he still keeps winning. So you shouldn't bet against him. But that being said, the weakness of whatever, I think to me, the more likely scenario, the teams that's been together more is Cincinnati. Miami has the most talent when they're all healthy or whatever, but I'm going to take Cincinnati. I'm going to go with
2 Cincinnati bets.
What we got, Mikey
I'm
Dobbs?
definitely going Miami.
Are you?
Yeah. I mean, Miami's a good pick. I mean, nobody could. I think going into the playoffs, we'll know more.
Great coach.
Check.
Yeah, but you got to tell
Amazing coach.
Who's healthy. If they're all healthy, then
they're all healthy right now, and
there's a long way to go before the MLS final.
Right, that's the other beautiful thing. December.
Yeah.
So they can rest Messi all day long.
Okay.
They're already in a good spot in the table.
They have the best team when they're all
they're
healthy.
They're already in a good spot in the table, Dave. Like,
aren't they number one?
Yeah.
Number
one by
they're
far.
good.
Yeah.
They're good. Coming out of the Copa America, Messi might even hold up in more hardware then.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to go for it in Leagues Cup, given their chance to win MLS Cup. So I think you're going to see a conservative Tata Martino on that front with Messi. He's no dummy. And we're going to see the team very healthy and very ready for the MLS Cup tournament to just smash everybody. Like David Beckham and everybody have been dreaming about.
You don't think Giroud is going to take LA and bring him over the top?
Oh, Giroud.
I love me some Giroud.
I
actually like Giroud. I'm not a big.
I say LAFC. No, he went to Galaxy.
He's a fabulous player.
Did he go to Galaxy or FC? I don't know. I'm forgetting. He went to LA.
Yeah, I think he went to Galaxy. If I'm not mistaken.
I feel like he went to LAFC.
Look
it up.
I'm looking.
Look it up, people.
They gave me some other Giroud. Apparently, there are other people besides soccer players.
Giroud's fabulous player, man. One of the most
great finisher.
One of the most underrated. No, he's not only a great finisher.
LAFC.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think LAFC wins the West because Giroud, they're already in first place. They've got a good coach, right? And Girondolo and Giroud puts them over the top. They win the West. But I still think all the teams in the East are better. The three, Miami, Columbus, Cincinnati, are all better. And the whoever survives that wins the MLS Cup.
Giroud is not only a great finisher, he comes back, he creates for other players. Like he's more than just a beautiful finisher, which he is a shark in the box. I mean, fox in the box, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah.
That team needs that. They've got a bunch of creators, but they need that.
But I already know I'm right with my prediction of Miami, so it's okay.
It depends.
Depends on nothing.
Miami ain't winning without Busquets, Messi.
They're all there.
Campana.
Who's
the young guy?
De Maria, who's coming too.
Yeah.
De Maria's coming to where?
Maybe.
Into Miami.
What?
Yeah, coming towards.
There's another guy who's supposedly coming too.
I don't know. Is he coming towards the end of MLS Cup? I think he might be after the season. I think he might be there.
You don't have any rules for this stuff.
Our transfer window opens up in July, so the final transfer window, so they can add people.
Luis Suarez. I mean, come on. It is.
But Suarez is going to be literally can't walk by the end of the season.
It doesn't matter. He can finish. Unlike every other MLS player that we've seen, like our forwards.
I don't know.
No,
we'll see.
I know.
You know.
I don't.
You know for sure.
I don't.
Okay.
Not know. I know.
You know.
Luis Suarez is better than
Mark it.
99.9% of any other forward in the MLS.
All right. Miami.
Even if he
winning.
can't walk.
I like the questions.
You know, it's
The
true.
questions are fantastic. Absolutely.
Okay.
Good job, Mikey Dobb. But before we end, just a couple things to
Oh.
end off on. Just a couple of things.
Right.
We just need to make sure everyone knows at the Avondale location of Wild Heaven, they will be showing the Euros on Friday and Saturday.
Oh,
You can listen to Hayden, as he says, scream
We
at
will be
Southgate.
there.
I'll
I'll be there, Hayden. Don't worry.
So yes, so that's, and he also wanted to point out the Atlanta United is still in the U.S. Open Cup.
Oh,
we
the
all-
rumor, the other players, sorry to interrupt you. The other rumor is the players rumored to be going to Miami.
What?
Luka Modric.
What in all the hell?
So makes sense. I mean,
They need to stop.
This is the David Beckham influence.
Yeah.
This is some bull. No, they need to stop this. This is not. This
I was
no.
like, there's another great player,
No.
and that if they get him,
No.
forget it. It's over.
No.
Dude,
they
that
need to
guy is
stop.
like fine
He's
wine.
ageless.
Oh,
Yes, ageless.
that was sad. The end of
How does he still do it?
Yeah, they need to stop.
He's
He's
that
like
guy.
100 years old, and in mileage years, he's 150.
Oh God.
As far as
yes.
mileage years, that needs to go away is Ronaldo, CR7. I mean, just don't.
Great player, but
Great player, don't like
all
him.
right, keep going. Sorry,
Go.
Oh,
Kyle.
I don't even know where I was going at this point. I guess we can end up with dancing. And did y'all have anything else to say? Even let's see. Yeah, we can talk about women's national team at some other point. We have some time before the
Got
Olympics.
some time. They had announced the roster.
Yes,
Just gonna shout out that I really like the roster picks. Did you like it too, Carmen?
loved.
Hey,
loved
last time with Underlowski, I was like, roster sucks, team sucks, coach sucks.
This is awesome.
This time I'm like, team good, coach good, roster good.
Emma Hayes. I
They're
love her.
clearly the favorites. They're gonna win.
I don't know about all that, but Emma Hayes.
I mean, you
is
never
the real
know. It's
deal.
a tournament because
Uh-huh.
you never know, right? So anything can happen, but they are going to be the best team.
Yeah.
Period.
And even the fact, I love how when people are talking about who's going to replace Berhalter when we fire him, and Emma Hayes has been in like the conversation. I'm like, this is beautiful. I love this so much.
Mallory Pugh
Swanson.
now. It shows you how I'm old. Also, I mean, she has been electric.
Oh, I love her. I love her so much. We might win because just her. The movement on that whole team. I don't know if it's her. I don't know if it's Emma
the
Hayes.
front line. Oh my God.
Which
we
is
have a
why leaving Alex Morgan at home was the right
Yes.
decision.
Yes. And she made that
And
hard
she
call.
made it.
And she made the call, and it was smart, good coaching.
Yes.
Please,
Yes.
Lord, send us an Emma Hayes.
And let's hope that none of our bosses are listening, so they know, because then they would know how much soccer we watch.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody, I was like, at my old job, I think they knew because I worked in office and they could just tell I had on my screen that the soccer was up. And I'm like, do my current employers know that I spend all day watching? Shh, yeah, don't.
All right,
Don't
let's
tell
dance it off.
We're dancing it off. And I will also, as we're
Just like
dancing
back
it
in
off.
Guadalajara. You say it, I do it, coach.
Let's go, Spain.
Football is life.
Danny Rojas. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
First 2-hour podcast.
That was the longest podcast ever.